Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Publicly Buzzed Live is about to come at you with an insane one, folks. I got Chris Dewitt hanging out back here, about to come at you.
Let's rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome in here, Publicly Buzzed Live on the air. Appreciate it on a Tuesday night. I've got Chris Dewitt hanging out backstage here. Tonight's episode is fucking nuts. I hope I'm saying this guy's name right. Brian Cohee. I think that's how you pronounce the last name here. I know everyone's been seeing it. This one's been kind of going viral. The trial was about a year ago, from everything I can understand. I can't find a lot of footage on that. I would like to watch this trial. But what I can find is a lot of videos about the body cam footage and the interrogation of this guy. This guy's insane. It's going to be interesting. Again, thanks everyone for coming in here. Hit that like, share it out. Let people know that you're hanging out with Publicly Buzzed Live tonight. And yeah, I got Chris Dewitt here. What's up, dude?
Hello. How are you? How is everybody?
Yeah, let us know what the hell's going on tonight.
Let us know how your day's going. What'd you have for breakfast?
Yes,
you know?
For real, dude. Yeah, man. And Chris, I'm glad that you're here for this one because,
thank you,
bro. What the actual fuck are we about to watch here?
It's not something you see every day, and it's really fucking weird, and it's really grisly, and yeah, it's like one of those like car crash situations, like can't turn away from it type thing, you know. It's just like, what the fuck am I looking at?
That was me earlier, and where I was kind of talking to you privately, I was like, I don't know a lot about this, and then I sort of dove in just a little bit to get, you know, a little bit more information. It was hard to stop because I was like, what the fuck? And then I started talking to a coworker who also loves true crime. You know, we talk about this shit all the time, and she was like, yes, I know about that one. So I was like, all right, yeah. And then I have been seeing this one all over the place.
Yeah, this one made the media rounds for sure. I mean, how could it not? It's crazy.
It's got all of the makings for, yeah, an absolutely wild true crime story. And honestly, man, they could make movies and TV shows for a long time out of this if they wanted to. But there's so much, dude. You know what? There's so much of this shit all the time now. Like, this one it's unique in its own ways and it's very barbaric. But dude, it's fucking endless, bro. Like, maybe it's because I'm looking at it daily, but this shit's endless. Like, there's no... Like this is I'm doing the trial I'm doing on Murder Church is a dismemberment trial. Like, people are just cutting motherfuckers up.
There's something in the water, I guess. It's getting crazy.
And this is close to Pokemon. Pokemon in the chat here. This isn't too far from where she's at. So like
the little Japanese cartoon.
Oh, yep, Pokemon. I used to call her Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon.
Pokemon, yeah.
Sorry.
I used to just call her Pokemon all the time, and it was hard to actually break that. When Dan was even like, you know, it's Pokemon, right? And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I right just now. Anyways, what state is this in? I didn't really pick
Colorado. I believe this is in Colorado.
Colorado.
Yep.
I thought it was Arizona for some reason. I don't know.
It might be Arizona. No, now that you're saying that, it might be Arizona. Pokemon, where are you?
Colorado, because I have no idea. That's just what I thought. If anybody in the chat can.
And in my head, I was thinking that she.
Somebody could yell out. Yeah. You know, this was in Wyoming, and I'd be like, it was in Wyoming.
I'm taking that yes as a Colorado yes. I hope. Anyways.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
That's
shit.
a definite maybe.
Jay's in the chat hanging out. What's going on, brother?
Hello, Jay.
Oh,
I
damn.
miss
Defense
you.
Attorney Meow just became a member here. Wow. Thank you very much. Hit you with the Ted DiBiase. I'm a bad man.
We're not.
Oh, yeah. Welcome in here. Beers in the chat.
Money.
Jay's in the chat. Liquor drinks in the chat. Dude, yeah, that's my new favorite one. The money, 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 money. Everybody's got a price. Everybody's gonna pay.
I don't even know what I can do on YouTube anymore.
Boom. From he's in Costco live right now. You should be good. I think it's vape. That's a vape. I'm not. That's a. Those are sold legally.
It may or may not be, but yes, I'm live at the Costco in the in the frozen aisle. People are looking at me really funny. It's very uncomfortable for me. But
he just went, and you know how those TikTokers, they have their setup, they have the phone, they have the light, the ring light with the phone inside of it. That's what he did. He's sitting in an aisle right now.
They've been trying to get me out of here for hours now.
So he's in the blind section. He's just chilling in the blind section. They're like, "Sir, are you going to buy one of those blinds?"
I'm on a couch that is clearly a display couch.
Yeah, he just pulled that over into the middle and just started.
People shop. Yeah, people shop. It's a very large couch. People are shopping for bulk items all around me. We're here. We're doing it. Dude. There's a huge crowd for Steve, not for me, and he's not even anywhere near here. I don't know what's going on.
They're like, what the hell's going on? No, they're probably asking you for autographs.
The people at Costco love Steve for something.
That would be unique. I've only been to a Costco. Never. I don't think I've ever been to a Costco. I was trying to think. Cassie's probably watching this and being like, we go to Costco all the time. That's how shitty I am with store names when she takes me out and about. I'm basically just like, all right, where are we going? I'm not high enough for this yet.
We were there 2 hours ago.
And the Costco, they just keep walking up and like, sir, you can't smoke in the store.
I kid you not. I don't know if I should say this because they might revoke my my membership. I don't think so because I spend so much goddamn money there because I love Costco. But I do use my vape inside Costco. I'm not gonna finish that sentence. I may or may not use my vape, but definitely do.
Yeah, you guys have to prove it.
Yeah,
hell, all you see is people walking around vaping, no matter where they're at. So how are they going to know what you're vaping?
If they, I don't even know that I am. I might not even know what vaping is and be misinterpreting the term. And you know, I learned a lot from watching Bob Mata. Please don't fuck with me, Costco.
That was some Bob Mata talk right there. Whoa, hot dogs.
Do it.
I have heard about a Costco hot dog, but I've never had a Costco hot dog.
I'm not a hot dog guy, but they're big. I see people eating them all the time. They're huge.
Damn.
It's like there's something about them. They must put magic in them or something.
Wow, got some plump boys out there. I work with this dude, right?
How the fuck did we get on this topic?
I don't know.
We're here to watch this gnarly video.
Bro, I fucking work with this guy.
We're like 20 minutes deep on Costco. Okay, go ahead.
Talking about the giant. But dude, I work with this guy, dude. He brings fruit all the time to the fucking office. The largest fruit I've ever seen in my life. Like a strawberry the size of his fist. Like, I'm exaggerating, but it's very fucking large. Grapes the size of eyeballs, bro. Like, bigger than eyeballs. Like, more like little fucking golf balls. Like, dude, they trip me out all the time. Like, where did you get those? And he always says Walmart. And I'm like, oh, man, Walmart is doing some...
What a fucking liar.
Dude, Walmart...
I've never seen good produce at Walmart.
Wild ass, dude. I do think that because I don't buy produce from Walmart, but I walk by it and it's not ginormous.
It's fucking bobo. You can take that shit and stuff at Walmart. Costco. Dude,
you can see some wild shit at Walmart though. Jersey Jan, $5 coming through. What the hell? Giving some love to PB and Steve and Mods and the PB fam. Thank you very much, Jersey Jan. Love you. That's fucking awesome. Always showing some love in here. Give you a little bit of ODB right there, and a little bit of Hulk Hogan. Hold on. Oh, let me tell you something, brother. Me and Chris were talking a little wrestling before we come on here. That's why we were late.
I can't hear the sound effects.
Oh, you can't hear those?
I can't hear them. What's going on?
Actually, let me make sure anybody can hear them.
I'm gonna go watch this shit in the chat where
Hold
I can hear
on.
the sound effects because
I want to make sure, because now actually you freaked me out that
I'm missing out on the show now.
Nobody can hear them. Holy shit. Nobody's hearing them.
Oh, shit.
1 second. Oh, my God. I'm glad you said that. Hold on. It's probably because, and I think that I had to reset my camera recently, and usually when I do that, I have to restart everything, but hold on. Hold on.
We're not doing that. We're running it. Sound effects or no sound effects.
Here we go. You got that one?
There we go.
We back. Hell yeah. Now I gotta hit you with these.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
I'm gonna bill you for fixing that technical difficulties.
That's gonna be the check will be in the mail for you, Chris. You know
the invoice is on its way.
So when I was just singing the Teddy DiBiase song earlier, they're like, "Well, that was strange."
No, that's why I was saying it, because the sound effect didn't.
Oh fuck! That makes so much more sense now. Actually,
what is going on here?
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
We're half hour in. Steve just showed up mentally. We're ready to go.
This place is dead anyway, man.
The best 20 minutes never happened.
Hold up.
Love it, baby.
Just chilling.
We just chilling. All right. We do have a wild ass show for you here tonight. Parents discover teen's son's horrifying secret. Go follow Explore with us if you're not. I've used this guy before. He's fucking awesome. I'm just going to kind of put this on. It's going to rock and roll. This goes through multiple body cam footages and the interrogation. So let's rock and roll, man. I'll fix this chat here as we go. And hold on. One more thing. We're ready to rock. Boom, boom, boom.
There's an arm, there's another arm, there's another one.
Parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Look at this fucking dude. He looks like
the
Stuart Minkus. Looks like Stuart Minkus from Boy Meets World.
Bro, and fucking, like, Jay nailed it earlier. Looking like Dwight also from The Office, bro. Like,
yeah.
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Totally. A young Dwight.
Dude, what is that? Like, there's a moment there. It's like, do you want to tell us anything? What your mom might have found in your room? He's like, yes. And then he does the head tilt. A human head and hands. Just as plain, like he's delivering a movie line. Like,
yeah.
That was wild. Dude. And the poor mom.
God, can you imagine finding a fucking head in some hands? Like how, like...
911 is John's address emergency.
Hi, there is an emergency.
Yeah.
I found something in my son's closet wrapped in a plastic bag.
Okay, what was it?
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
On March 1st, 2021, police at Grand Junction, Colorado received this chilling 911 call. A mother has just discovered a disturbing secret hidden within her son's closet. Even more terrifying, he's currently just outside the house while she makes this call for help.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's all an ear.
Is it bloody or does it like anything like that?
Can you just come? Do I have to take a picture and send it to you?
What's the address?
The dispatcher tries to get as much information as possible to make sense of this shocking call and give officers an idea of what they might be walking into.
Is your son there now?
He just pulled up. We wanted to make sure he was here before we called.
How old is he?
19. He's had a little bit of a fascination with the morbid, but he was channeling it, I thought, into becoming a crime scene investigator, but not so much.
Do you think he's going to be cooperative with us?
I don't know. I don't think he'll be violent.
Okay.
Just came back from his friend's house.
Does he have any weapons in his room? Or do you
I
guys have
don't
any
think he'll be violent when she suspects he decapitated somebody and cut their fucking hands off. What the fuck? That just goes to show like the shock she's in and how like not clear she's thinking. And like how ridiculous, how crazy is that? You know, like
yeah, dude. Even saying it and hearing it out loud, it's like, come on, man. Like you're staring at a head not attached to a body. Like
it's her. That's her like trying to rationalize.
Yeah, in the moment. And seeing her breaking, we're going to see that, but seeing her breaking down is so, dude, you can feel it. You can fucking feel it, like.
Yeah.
Certainly remembered immediately before he gets in his room. He's out by the car now, so.
Is the bag still in the closet?
No, it's in my kitchen sink. And there's a secondary bag
imagine
that I
having
have
to
not
make this
opened. It's currently covered with a towel.
And there's a
The
second
father
bag?
is taking, yeah, there's a second bag that I don't know what's in it. I didn't open it.
I'm sorry. Did he take he took the second bag out of the closet?
I took the second bag out of the closet and put it in the sink.
Where's Brian now?
I think he's still outside.
And you're in the backyard now?
I am, yes, because I don't want him to hear me.
Despite the horrifying nature of this call, police could not have anticipated the twisted tale of violence they were about to embark on, nor did they have any idea just how shocking the motive behind the inexplicable horror would be. One day prior to responding to this harrowing incident, the emergency services had attended to a rather unusual call at 2 a.m. on Sunday, February 28, 2021. 19-year-old Brian Cohee Jr. is having a bad night. As officers arrive at the Blue Heron boat ramp, they can scarcely believe their eyes. The majority of the following footage has never been seen before. It's been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a licensed clinical psychologist, and a former detective, former licensed polygraph examiner, and former hostage negotiation commander and instructor.
How do we call a tow for that?
I don't know, because he'd have to get in the friggin' water.
Yeah.
I called Black's Towing. They want me to text them a photo of the car because they think they might be able to pull it out.
Okay. So you're already in contact with them?
Yeah, but I only have like 10% battery left on my phone, and now he wants me to text him a photo of the car, and I'm like, oh, good Lord.
I can take one and text it to him for you if you'd like.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
It's not every day that police officers see a car floating in the Colorado River. To try and make sense of what they're observing, the officers speak to Brian's mother.
He is an inexperienced driver.
Okay.
Put his car here on the angle and got out and like just looked around at the moonlight for a moment, and when he went to get back in, he wasn't able because of the angle to pull it out. I don't know. He's right there.
Okay.
Even saying it out loud, it makes no sense.
Well, it's interesting how right away his mom is like he's an inexperienced driver, like instantly going, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and even as she was saying it at the end, she's like, "Yeah, and this doesn't make sense. He's right there." Like, yeah, but she gave it a shot.
Sounds good.
Officers decide it's best to get the story straight from the horse's mouth, and 19-year-old Brian has no choice but to own up to his mistake. Little do these officers know, there's a sinister secret lurking in the background of this crazy story.
Is your son right here? Yep. Hey, partner, you want to come out and talk to me real quick?
Sure.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm really cold. Is it okay if it's in here?
Because that's fine. Because he is submerged.
That's fine. I did not know that. No, please stay in the car. Yeah. All right. Nobody else in the car?
Nope.
No, okay.
No, just us. I'm the father. That's the mother. And this is our son. He just called us 20 minutes ago and said, "Dad, I parked at the boat ramp and I messed up. I tried to get out of the car and slid down."
Well, you're not hurt, right? You're okay?
No, just a little cold is all.
Just beside your pride a little bit.
And probably $7,000.
Okay. All right, man. Do you have your ID with you, driver's license by any chance?
Thankfully.
What were you doing down here, bud?
Well, I felt like I needed to get out, and I figured, why not park here and just
relax a little bit?
Relax and think.
Okay.
And I parked on the boat ramp, and I thought it would be easy to get out. But when I tried to,
where did you park exactly? Were you down the hill a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. Okay. And then when you got back in, go ahead. When I got back in, I tried to put it in drive, and it didn't go up. So then I tried putting it in low gear, shimmying it a bit. That didn't work.
Were you facing down?
No, I was facing up.
You
back down? Yeah. That's a really good idea.
It's a predicament so ridiculous that the responding officers can't help but laugh.
How we're going to handle this, man? I don't know. Do I get a tow going for a car in the river and see if anybody will take this?
I'm going to work on that.
I don't know, man. So I'm kind of glad you were coming down here because I was like, it's not a crash. He just
it's like
parked
8 feet out in the water.
He parked it and basically couldn't get it up. It just lost traction, looks like, and then he actually went in it down in the water. He's not hurt at all. So I'm like, how are you going to get this car out if possible?
I don't know.
Did he
officers
not say that he parked and got out to think, and then the car went in the water? So
yeah, that's kind of what he's saying.
Then they're just saying that he was in the car and got it. Like, none of this makes sense.
It doesn't make
Nobody's
any sense.
picking up on it.
Yeah. And then, we get to the weird part, another weird part in a minute, but if that, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen this, but the part that we're about to get to that's weird, if that wouldn't have happened, would they have just been like, whatever? Like,
I guess so. I mean, it seems like it.
And
do you like, if that's your job and you like doing the paperwork on that's enough of the pain in the ass, you really want to investigate further?
That's about it, I bet. Actually, they're like,
yeah,
oh, fuck, what the hell?
They have no reason to
suspect anything weird. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a cop. That's why I'm not a cop. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some videos, this turns into a whole different thing, but some videos that you do see of like some cop interactions, one that comes to mind is like the ones with Gabby Pateo. That whole thing when she was clearly being abused, they had the interaction on the side of the road, and then shortly after, like a week later, she's murdered by this guy. That would be hard, I think, as a police officer to deal with later. Because that blew up and that was huge, and that there's tons of circumstances like that, but that one's like one of the more popular ones, like because that police footage is just viral. You're seeing,
and I think that's more of like a straight out like example of like more of a failure to protect, whereas this guy was already dead. I hate to say
right, yeah, and it is totally different.
Yeah, this is more like a failure to notice,
how fucking strange this is.
Suspicious,
dude, suspicious is the word. Yeah, like it's suspicious, like
possibly reason to investigate, but what the fuck do I know? I'm sitting here on YouTube, like
convinced that this is a teenager's mishap. It will be some time before they begin to suspect that there's anything more to this story than what they've been told.
We're gonna get some options for you here, man. I'm not sure exactly if we're gonna see if we can go through the list if anybody's got some ideas on getting this car out of here, or not. I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of cars that have put themselves in that situation. So we're gonna see what we can do. And,
I'm actually the owner of the life jacket program on the boat ramp here.
Mm-hmm.
I do all the life jackets in Grand Junction, Colorado. So it's like, oh my God, this is not.
It happens. It happens.
Not wearing pants.
Faced with embarrassment over the whole ordeal, Brian's mother talks with the officers.
Yeah, we made him wait till he was almost 18 before he got his driver's license because we didn't want him having any accidents like they do when they're 16 and 17 and doing stupid things. But stupid, he doesn't have an age limit, I guess.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, this is my first time too.
Really?
It's a new one for me.
What's that?
So I've never seen one of these either, so it's a new one for me.
On my website, backing up when people back up their boats, I see accidents when a truck goes accidentally in the water. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, the boat and the truck's in the water.
I lost him.
Just let me know if he does. That way, if not, we can try and get hold of a tow truck and go from there.
No, it's at an angle. It's heading upriver. It's facing upriver.
Yeah.
Yes, the front of it is facing upriver. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. It keeps losing the call. Ah! And he's like, I don't want to get wet. I don't have the proper clothing to go into the water and get wet.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert. Well, I was just talking to the patrolman, and they're suggesting that we just adjust this in daylight hours. That's why they make the big bucks. They're smart. Nobody wants to get in the water. I hear you.
At long last, the officers make contact with the towing company willing to come out to the river in the middle of the night and risk the frigid waters. With help on the way, they finish things up with the Cohees.
If you guys want to stay warm, you're more than welcome to jump in that car and stay where it's warm.
Does he need to stay here? Or
I'm sorry?
Is he free to go? I'm sure he'd like to go home and get warm.
I'm sure he'd like to get some pants on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's not a crash. It's
okay. It's just a stupid ass.
So,
okay. All right, I'm going to take him home then, and then we'll come back here and figure out what's what with the tow truck driver.
Terry and Brian Sr. take Brian home, but they soon return without their son to the boat
like
ramp.
To think his plan was so genius that everyone fell for it, but it was so stupid that everybody dismissed it. It's
after
like,
this night, yeah, he goes home. even before the call, right? Like he's like, yes, and then even after
yeah,
the call,
right now
like,
he thinks he's probably a criminal mastermind, but in reality, he's just so fucking dumb that they're like, how does somebody so stupid do this? Like, and they just kind of like, whatever.
Dude, I can't wait to get the interrogation footage because I ain't seen none of that. I've seen nothing. Like,
Nearly an hour later, the tow company is making progress. But as the car nears the shore, the officers make a disconcerting discovery.
Hey, quick question for you. Sure. So the back bumper, I don't know, you can probably see it from here. It's a lot of red on the back of that, dripping down it all a little bit. That's underneath the license plate, a little area right there. Okay. A lot of red, which means looks like blood.
Looks like blood.
Blood?
Yeah.
Blood?
I don't know if did your son hurt himself on his way out at all?
He might have, and he just didn't know it. I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. It's a good question. He's at home. Is he make sure he's not got a cut or
He just said he's going to bed.
something out on him somewhere that he's not aware of? Maybe because his adrenaline was a little high. Maybe just have him do like a self-check, make sure he's okay.
Hello? Brian, are you okay? They see blood on the back bumper of the vehicle.
Really?
Yeah, did you get hurt?
No.
Are you sure you don't have any injuries?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, hold on. You hear how defensive his tone just got?
So defensive, bro.
Like right away, it went
That's
zero
not how
to
you
1,000.
answer that question. Like,
Bingo.
I'm
Suspicious.
fine. Like,
Yeah. No, what are you talking about? Blood? Really? No.
The cops right there, bro. Like,
I don't think I'd get that defensive that quickly if I really didn't know what they were talking about and had to process it. But,
yeah, dude, that was telling as fuck. I'm gonna rewind that real quick.
Really?
Yeah, did you get hurt?
No.
Are you sure you don't have any injuries?
No, I'm fine. There's blood on it?
We're not sure.
We're not
It's
sure. It's a red, something red
demanding.
underneath the license plate.
authoritative.
Similar blood stain.
Don't want you asking any more questions.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm good. I'll see you guys later.
See, this guy clearly isn't the Don Juan, Ted Bundy charming.
No.
He's not that type. He doesn't have the skills. He doesn't have the social skills. I think intellectually, I don't know. He seems to be, keeping up with what's going on and can talk the talk, but clearly, there's a lot of things that stand out.
Yeah, dude.
Have any?
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, and I don't know if anyone said it. Like, is this dude autistic? Like, is he on the spectrum? Because he seems like he could be, like, just from the way he kind of converses. And a lot of times, those people are smart as fuck. Like,
yeah, that would be my main suspicion. I mean, all of this is you're all getting like basically snap judgments from me. So don't, and whatever my opinion is worth is what you think it's worth. But
yeah, same here. Yeah,
I have
we're just reacting to this.
I got a sneaky suspicion of him may or may not be on the spectrum. So
yeah.
Oh, someone in the chat says he is autistic.
Oh shit! There we go.
Thank you, Johnny Archer.
Thanks,
I don't
Johnny.
know if that's
Hell yeah.
true.
Johnny's awesome.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah. Johnny is always in the Discord, always coming through and posting articles and stuff. So yeah, Johnny's awesome.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank Johnny for that.
No, I don't know what would cause blood or whatever it is on the bumper.
But you're not injured.
No, I'm not injured.
That's
Officers
true, yeah.
may have some.
It's not like he's like, what? Like, explain further. He's like, no, what? No, let's drop it. We're done with this. Yeah, dude. Like,
Concerns about the mysterious red substance on the bumper, but they released the car into the Cohee's custody.
please make that comment.
However, on March 1st, the next day, the police once again find themselves at the Blue Heron boat ramp. A homeless man by the name of Warren Barnes has been reported missing. Officers speak to the woman who called in the report.
How do you know Warren?
I own Monique's Bridal downtown, and I give him a chair to sit and read his books.
When was the last time you saw him?
Saturday, 5 o'clock. I said, I'll see you tomorrow, Warren, and he was like, okay, meaning he planned on coming down on Sunday, and then he did not show up. So I'm thinking if they saw him Saturday, maybe it happened more up there because it's weird. He would never come down here. He would never come all the way down
He
here.
doesn't have a camp down here or anything?
No, he worked for People Ready. And someone found the wallet and called People Ready this morning. And they said that everything looked like it was in there because he doesn't have much. And I just gave him $20 for beer. So I know that he had maybe a couple bucks.
So they found his wallet just down here at the boat ramp?
Monique Lanati has forged a special friendship with Warren over the years.
So why did you, what raised concern with you today to report him missing?
Because the place People Ready called to see if I had seen him because he didn't show up for work, and he's never once not shown up for work in the 4 years he's been working for them. So I said no, and that I hadn't seen him since Saturday.
He was camping down here?
No, she's never seen or heard of him being down here.
That's why I'm freaked out, because there's no way he walked all the way down here and his wallet just
So, in how many years?
4 years. Yeah, that's as long as I've known him.
Officers soon find that Monique is not alone in her concerns about the missing Warren Barnes.
He literally shows up every morning, every day without fail, like at 6 o'clock, sometimes a little sooner. And we always let him in before the customers. We give him free coffee. He's the nicest old man ever.
Do you talk to him at all?
All the time. Hey,
So
good.
every morning it's around 6?
Yeah.
Without fail?
Without fail. And he's the nicest guy ever. Rough looking, but he is the nicest guy.
Monique gives officers a photograph of Warren in the hopes that it'll help with their search.
So that's the only picture you have of him?
That's the only one I have, and that's from June of 2019, so he's a little bit thinner.
Okay. So who found his wallet down here?
The lady from the place said that it was whoever runs the life jacket thingy.
I'm actually the owner of the life jacket program on the boat ramp here.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I hope you guys find him. Oh, I hope he's okay. If anything, I just hope you find him so that we can start the next process of whatever, because I don't know. I just have a really bad feeling.
Monique's tone doesn't convey much hope, and with only an old photograph, police have very little to go on. However, things are transpiring across town. As it turns out, it was indeed Brian Cohee's father who called about the wallet. He found it in the most unlikely place, the now recovered Ford 500 that his son accidentally sank in the river. With her suspicions raised, Brian's mother goes into his bedroom to investigate. It's March 1st, 2021, the day after the car incident at the boat ramp, and Terry Cohee is about to make a horrifying discovery as she opens her son's closet.
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's an ear.
Shocked and terrified by what she's found in her son's closet, Terry Cohee nonetheless has the presence of mind to keep Brian in the dark while she gets police to her address. Deputies from the Mesa County Sheriff's Office arrive at Brian's address, wisely leaving
Bringing that back to your house is crazy.
their sirens off as they approach. This could have frightened the young suspect, and it's important to keep him calm for the initial interaction.
What's going on, man?
The deputy makes contact with Brian using a friendly, disarming greeting, which goes further to establish an atmosphere of calm. Of course, at the same time, the deputy is certainly scanning the area for any potential threats, as well as making sure that Brian has his hands where he can see them.
Cooperate. I am going to cooperate.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Do you have anything on you that's going to cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's
okay.
it.
Well, I'm going to have you face that way. Put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just want to make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
It's important that the deputy only ask enough questions to figure out exactly what is going on at the scene. And while this is not the kind of encounter that even a veteran police officer would be accustomed to, it's Brian's parents who must slowly absorb the shock of their son's admission.
I'm going to have you walk over here. You're going to sit in the back of my partner's patrol car for a minute, okay? Not yet. Okay. Just sit back there and hang out for me, okay? Can you walk me inside, please?
Let's walk you all through this, what happened in the very beginning.
Okay.
Let me do it. You go inside.
Well, let's stay out here with me for a minute.
Sit down. Come on, sit down, baby.
Can I go in there and verify here first?
Oh, yeah, please.
We
haven't seen it. Yeah, we haven't
okay.
looked at it. It's under the towel in the sink.
Okay.
Yeah, Annie, stay with your mother. Give her
Hey, just make sure that guy goes in the car first.
I can stay there. You can go in the sink, right?
Well,
The sink
okay.
right there. No, you can understand.
Yeah.
House is empty.
Okay.
had a bad feeling about what happened this weekend. Okay. And she said there's a bag in this closet, and she opened it up, and she called me and said, get over here right now.
The deputy correctly asks for permission to enter the house so that he can confirm the grim contents of the kitchen sink.
I covered it with a towel.
Okay.
So I didn't want him to see it because we didn't want him to run. I don't want to look at it.
Yep. Just sit back there and hang out for me, okay?
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you? You said your name's Brian?
Couldn't get away fast enough.
Dude, yes, man. Like, that's a different vibe that's happening here, bro. And he's so fucking casual about it. And, like, you're going about your day. This mom just goes into her son's room and finds this. Like, I could not imagine that moment. I mean, you can hear it in her voice in the 911 call, but holy fuck. And then her breaking down in this footage. But, dude, like, just thinking about a normal day with your family, like
there's no preparation to deal with such a situation. There's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, dude. Like it's hard to even really, as I'm saying it and trying to get out what I'm really trying to convey, I actually can't because like it's so odd. Like it's fucking weird, man.
I'm not feeling too well.
You're not feeling too well?
I'm not feeling too well, ma'am.
I'm very, very anxious.
That's understandable. What we're going to have you do here is I'm just going to have you sit in the back here, okay? I'm going to turn on the air for you in a second. That way you're not too hot. Are you a hot-blooded or cold-blooded kind of guy?
I am very cold-blooded. I prefer cold. Well, no, actually, sorry, hot-blooded.
Hot-blooded. So you prefer the cold. Okay, fantastic. All right. So hop in here. I know you're tall, so it's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but like I said, I'll get that air on for you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right.
And like
Stiffy was,
and he's, you know, it's like an alien trying to act like a human.
100%,
like,
dude.
Intellectually, you can tell he's there, but emotionally, it ain't there.
Totally different. You know? Yeah, dude.
Induction's been quite violent lately.
The officer has no response to this observation.
How you holding up, Brian? Okay. A bit thirsty? You guys have any water in your home? I can't make any guarantees we're going to be able to go in and get some, but I will get some water to you as soon as I can, okay? All right, Brian. We're headed to the sheriff's office, and your family's going to go with us, okay?
She also doesn't respond on the way to the sheriff's office when Brian casually makes another chilling remark.
It's under this bridge.
Okay, Brian.
Thank you.
No problem, sir. So walk with me. We're going to walk right this way, okay?
You're fine with me not being in cuffs.
I'm fine with you not being in cuffs.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Brian. Open this door for me, please.
That is crazy.
Just walk forward for me, Brian.
Oh, I should have a mask.
You're okay. Don't worry about it, okay? Keep on walking. Keep going. Take another left. Hard left. Right here. Right here. Sorry. All right. So have a seat, and we'll be with you in a moment, okay? Thanks, Brian.
With Brian situated in the interrogation room, investigators speak with his parents to find out what happened that harrowing morning.
And right here.
Dude. I haven't seen none of this.
Just take your time. Take as much time as you need, okay? So I know very little about what's going on today. So, what started all of what's going on?
Terry relays the incident at the boat ramp.
So, we have the car towed back to the address. And, of course, with the battery being wet, nothing was operating. And so my husband was cleaning out the car because he was going to take it into Scotty's to see if they could maybe salvage it. Okay. And he found the wallet. So he called me this morning and he said, found the wallet in Brian's car. Oh, and the officers thought that there was blood on his car. Okay. The night that it was in the river. Okay. The scene, and he had just had a procedure done on his armpit a few days before, so I thought maybe the adrenaline opened that back up, and that's where it came from. I don't know. And he said, I don't know where it came from. And he took a special effects class last summer, which involved fake blood. Okay. And he's like, one of those fake blood containers first in my trunk is probably that. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
However, his father, Brian Cohee Sr., found something even grislier in the car's glove box and decided to confront his son.
Went back out there this morning just to continue, and I opened the glove box, and there was a knife in the glove box, underwater. The glove box is full of water. Very large knife. And then, as I go around the passenger door, I open the passenger door, and there's a wallet in between this door and I open up. That's not Brian's wallet. It's frozen solid. That's not Brian's wallet. So I take it inside, and I ended up getting one of the wads of cards out, and it's a labor ready. I read that, so I called labor ready, and then another one, there was a social security card. I was like, hey, this is a weird call, but I've got a wallet here with so-and-so's name, and I'm hoping he works for you all, or you subbed him out or whatever. Oh, yeah, my one, we've been missing him. Yes, he didn't show up today. I'm like, oh, my God, now we've got a missing person. Okay, well, I found his wallet at Blue Hen Boat Ramp. So here's my name, here's all my information. If you get a hold of him, tell him I've got his wallet here at my house. Okay, so I left that like that. Called Brian. Brian, what's going on? Why is there a wallet in the car? Oh, I found it down at the boat ramp when I was down there walking around. And he was so sincere. I took it all. I want to believe him. He's my son. Sure. We found out, Brian, how come, all this going on in the last 2 days, how come you didn't tell us about the wallet? Dad, I was just so excited with all the going on. My car getting towed. Look at this wet now. It won't start. I just didn't think about it. I didn't think it was important, Dad. I'm like, Brian, who is this one whatever guy? Dad, I swear to you, from the bottom, I only know one more, and he's my school friend. It's not him. I believe him. There's blood on the bumper. Right. And I'm like a smear of blood. And I'm like, that didn't come from that cut. And I asked him, Brian, tell me the truth. I knew. I didn't want to believe it. Something was going on.
Had that gut feeling.
Despite the red flags, the family put the strange accident at the boat ramp behind them. But no one was prepared for the spine-chilling discovery Terry made the next morning.
I was in his room, cleaning up, putting some things away, and he has a Rubbermaid container in his closet. And so I just kind of started digging through, going, what is this mess? Like moms do. Sure. And I saw a plastic bag, a white plastic trash bag. And I was like, what in the world does he have in here? And I picked it up, and it was heavy. And I held it in my hands, and I was like, what in the world is this? What in the world? Is it like maggots covering something? Or I don't know. I better take it in the sink. So I carried it out to the sink.
Covered in maggots?
And it was double bagged. So I ripped open one bag, and I saw old blood. Okay. And I went, ripped open the second bag.
Like she's reliving it right now. This is crazy, dude.
It's so So I didn't open the second bag. Okay. I called my husband. I said, Brian Jr. had already gone over his friend's house. He said, Mom, I want to go over to Kai's house. And I said, okay, but, don't be over there too long. He goes, yeah, I should only be over there maybe 3 or 4 hours. It's good to hang out with her. And I said, okay.
This friend was Kylan Like, and police would speak with her shortly.
So I called his father. He said, how did you see Nancy up from school? He said, I think it's at 12:30. 12:40, whatever. I don't know what time it was. I just said, you need to come over here right now. And he said, okay, well, I got Andy with me. And I said, you need to come over here right now. And he said, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. And he hung up.
Kylan Like's mother, Heather Gale, recalled what she saw after Brian ended the call.
And my only memory of that was the way he peeled out of the driveway. I actually have a picture somewhere on my phone of the marks when he left to go, because his brother called him, I guess, and said, I need my car back.
We know, of course, that this was a ruse on the part of Brian's parents to get him back to the house after their horrifying discovery.
Brian, my husband, was already there by that point, and he put a towel over top of his stomach for me in bed. So we hatched a plan to call Brian and tell him that his brother needed the Mustang for a driving lesson because he's on his learners. And just as he pulled up, I called him before.
And he kind of knew something was up. Dad, you ever feel like the day's going to change? He started saying things. I'm like, yeah, we're just being really vague. Me and Andy was sitting there, and Mom was on the phone over there talking to 911. And it just seemed like it took forever.
As his parents continue to speak with the detectives, investigators Pete Berg and Lisa Norcross join Brian in his room. Over the next 2 hours, they will hear a shocking story of blood-curdling evil. And before the interview is over, they will even learn the dreadful truth about Brian's ill-fated trip to the boat ramp.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is Lisa. She was
Hi, how are you?
Okay, yeah.
Good, thanks.
Never really good.
Okay.
Trade me seats? Sure. Ooh, there's a special chair in. No, the special chair because it's softer and I'm old.
Brian is as cooperative and pleasant with the investigators as he was with the deputy who escorted him to the sheriff's office, but his nervous shaking and insatiable thirst indicate he is perhaps not as calm as he's trying to appear. The question is whether he's anxious about his fate or excited about his moment in the spotlight. One thing to keep in mind is that, according to his mother, Brian is diagnosed with ADHD and autism, and leg shaking can be a normal, stimulating behavior for people with these diagnoses. They read Brian his Miranda rights, and he agrees to speak with the officers.
Brian, from here?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
I've went to Broadway Elementary School just across from my dad's house. Then I went to Brooklyn Middle School.
Right.
Graduated last year.
Good for you. Okay. Do you work?
Yeah.
Where do you work at?
Not even part-time. I was going to say part-time, not even. As a bagger / courtesy clerk for Safeway, I work anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week.
It may seem at first glance that the detectives are engaging in idle chit-chat to set Brian at ease, but this is part of rapport building, and it's also crucial for them to establish early on that Brian has been handling responsibilities such as school and work, and is perfectly capable of carrying on a normal conversation. This will make it much harder for Brian to claim before a jury that he was unable to tell right from wrong.
And how did you get here?
I murdered someone.
Okay.
It seems that Investigator Berg was merely asking how Brian physically arrived at the sheriff's office, but Brian doesn't stand on ceremony. With a tone and head tilt that suggests he's bragging, Brian makes the ultimate confession. In fact, he's all too willing to discuss this horrific crime with detectives.
To start back at the beginning and go slow and tell me as many details as you can remember.
So, because Murray going to jail for the 15 years probably.
I have no idea.
Because
we're at the beginning.
It's murder. I'm going to jail for 20 probably, but so I figured, why fight it?
Okay. So what's important to me is to learn as much about you and what you did as I can. Well, as many details as you can give me, the better.
Brian's polite exterior only adds to the surreal depravity of his confession. He's somewhat of a unique suspect.
Let's see. Yeah, it was the night of February 27th. It was a full moon. And I could see so well when
it's so easy to say that after the
I am in a
grisly
bad
murder.
state of mind at that time. I have major depressive disorder, so I am not thinking, shall say, positively.
Okay.
And I'm cruising around for an hour and a half. So I fill up on gas halfway through, and I'm eventually driving underneath the bridge near the sheriff's office. I'm bad with words. I'm just. By the way, I'm a habitual late shaker. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You send people who have committed crimes like me. Do we stay in this county jail or are we moved?
It all depends on what the judge says.
Brian maintains his spirit of cooperation, but he's clearly concerned about what happens after this interview is over. It's interesting to note how he compares himself to others with the phrase, people who have committed crimes like me, almost as if he has joined an exclusive club.
So we were at the bridge?
Yes, I was at the bridge. I was cruising to There's a road underneath, right?
Or it's because he doesn't know how to have a smooth flowing conversation and phrase things. And that's what I hate about these channels. They always present things a certain way. People are always like, oh man, no, it's not. I mean, there's, I don't put too much emphasis on all that shit.
I hear you. Is he writing? Is he drawing on the wall?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Did they just like give him a marker?
I was driving along and I see
giving him a map
here on the railway track. So I'm like,
what happened under the bridge, maybe?
Interesting. So I go up, and as I'm looking, I see a large thing wrapped in a canvas. Okay. And I'm like, that's a homeless person. So I grab my knife, I put on 3 layers of gloves, because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, the vinyl gloves, by putting your fingerprints through. So I put on 2, 3 on one hand. I took the knife, I pulled back the canvas, and I stabbed his neck. Okay. He was panicking at first.
I think he thinks about this shit. And this is just my opinion based on how things went down and how he's talking about it and everything, is that like I think this dude's autistic, and I can't diagnose anybody. I'm not a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
So but
it seems fairly obvious that he's on the spectrum though, the ways it interacting and speaking and the pattern of it.
Yeah, just my opinion. I think this dude's, autistic, and he's not hitting on the social cues and everything. There's a lot of evidence there. Yeah. So, I think, and he has, ADHD, major depressive disorder. I think something else that like he himself said he was diagnosed with and stuff. Like, I think this is, and him driving around, refilling his tank, putting 3 pairs of gloves on. This isn't shit that a guy like this guy doesn't think in the moment. Like someone in the chat said earlier, they said when they found blood on the car, oh, I hit an animal. He doesn't think on his feet like that. Yeah.
It took him a minute to get to the effects lie even with his mom.
So for him to be driving around and then he sees somebody, puts on 3 pairs of gloves, I think he thinks about this shit compulsively. Yeah, I think he's like obsessed with it, I think this murder, I haven't seen this interrogation. I don't know how he feels about it, but right now it seems like super compulsive, and this murder is like very experimental to him.
Yeah. And no doubt if this wouldn't have played out the way it went, he would have done another one. Like he would have probably tried again, right? You think? I just kept moving?
I don't know. I can't say that, but
where was this would have satisfied that urge? Because clearly he's super intrigued by murdering someone.
It depends how he felt about it, and if there's something about it that draws him back, because clearly
it becomes like
uncontrollable
compulsion.
I mean, I think it already was. I think by everything that I'm seeing, yeah, it seems like super experimental and like a compulsion. And yeah, anyways, I do want to see how he felt about the murder and stuff and what happened though. I really like, this is just got really interesting to me.
Dude, I'm insanely intrigued in this one. Real quick, Shiraz not only became a member a moment ago, she also gifted out 5 memberships. Holy shit. Welcome in here. Kaylin grabbed one of those. Pam Coogan, B. Allen, Lady D grabbed one, and Sam grabbed one. Welcome in here, everyone. Hell yeah, and thank you, Shiraz. I really appreciate that. Hell yeah. Give you a little love here real quick before we head back in here.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you very much. And I haven't done this in a long time. YouTube does this thing to where they give you, I think it's like 10 free memberships you can pass out during your stream. I'm going to give 5 of those out here in a minute as we're watching this. So yeah, keep an eye out here.
I know why I call an old man. He was saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah! And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration? Oh, yeah. This is him. I was strapped on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time, I was growling and making animalistic noises.
At this point, there can be no doubt that Brian is excited to tell the investigators all about his horrific deed. Not only is he pleased to be holding court, he's actually reliving the murder and relishing the memory, demonstrated by a smile. As for any question of this crime being premeditated, Brian admits to having put on 3 layers of gloves, which he already had with him.
The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And when I was finished stabbing him, he took out his last breath, a grunt, and his head was halfway cut off in stabs. All the while, no, actually, after I killed him, I just couldn't stop saying, stinky, dirty, dirty, stinky, stinky. I wasn't smelling anything, but...
In an eerie coincidence, on one of his social media accounts, Brian identifies himself as that stinky boy registered under his email ID.
And why were you saying that?
I don't know.
Okay. But you remember doing it, so.
Yeah. I suppose it was just me speaking out my mind.
See, that seems like some compulsive disorder shit.
Were you worried about?
The way he was saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like...
I didn't know why I was saying it. It was just coming out of me, right?
Yeah, that seems like... But, also, something interesting that's, like, fairly normal with these cases is, like, they're super grisly a lot of the time because, and it's not, so people would see a crime scene like that. What would be your first impression if you were to see a murder like that? What do you think? Like,
probably just shock. Yeah, I'd probably just be in shock in the moment.
Well, I mean, like, why? I think a lot of people when they see somebody like brutalized like that with a knife and cut up, they think rage.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
In actuality, with like him, these inexperienced killers, and especially when they're younger, the attacks are more frenzied and more crazy like that because they don't know what it's going to take to kill the person. So sense. it can get very messy and very violent. You'll see overkill, lots of shit like that, and it's not. A lot of people, because they watch the crime shows and stuff, he's
full of rage. He must have known this person.
That person was so angry they tore him to pieces. No, they're inexperienced. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
That's a good point, man. That's a really good point. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, this looks like it's pretty close to the road and stuff. Somebody seeing you or catching you?
It was 11 p.m., so not many were driving by. Well, it was behind the pillar. So, like, here's the road. It was here. So people would only see a brief thing here and here.
So were you worried about them seeing you?
I was worried about one of them stopping.
What did you think could happen if somebody...
Well, if they looked, well, it was quite dark under there, so they wouldn't have seen the guy unless they looked. They would have seen me holding a bloody 12-inch knife, wearing gloves, and wearing a mask to conceal my identity, a face mask.
Okay. So you weren't doing it for COVID, you were doing it to hide your face?
Partially. Social distancing. Yeah, but no one stopped. And I'm just like, proves the bystander effect.
His laughter and offhand comments speak to his mindset, which is that nothing is wrong.
I don't think the laughter is because he's cold and callous. I think because he doesn't understand social cues and he's nervous.
that makes sense.
Maybe how his anxiety and shit gets out. That's how I've been reading him the whole time. Like,
yeah, it's almost like that's an interesting point because it's almost like the entire time we've been reading him as like being a weird dude, making the references, but he makes kind of a normal-ish laugh in an odd moment, and then we bring that out, right? We're like, oh, how fucking weird this guy. This whole time we've been saying he's weird. So
if he was very socially adept, yes, that would stand out.
Yeah, if he was just normal this whole time and all of a sudden, dude. That's such a good point, Chris. Yeah.
Or if he presented normal, he doesn't present normal. So it's funny that they point out like,
at all.
His demeanor, his laughing shows his mindset. No, it doesn't. That one thing didn't show anything to me. I gathered a bunch of other stuff, how analytical he was, as analytical I guess as he can be. Like, he's very good at explaining and breaking these things down. That I picked up on, things like that. They're focused on the laugh. I don't get it. That didn't mean anything to me.
Dude, yeah, man. No, dude, that's a very interesting point.
Thank you.
Brian mentions the bystander effect here, which is the idea that the more people there are watching a crime, the less likely that anyone will stand up and do anything about it. There are a few different reasons behind this, but we know that it often occurs because people may be afraid that they'll be judged by the rest of the crowd if they step in first to do something. Ultimately, people are social creatures, and the vast majority of people chose to do whatever the rest of the crowd does. It's a rare person that steps forward alone.
I noticed you got a cut on your hand. Is that from...
Oh, that was when I was doing gas, when I filled up. What happened was, because I don't want to be seen in a gas station with a knife poking out of my pocket, I put it in the car on the back seat floor. When I'm done with it, I try and grab it, but my hand slips and grabs the blade, and as I pick it up, it slices these 2 fingers.
Okay.
And then, let's see. Yeah. And then after that, I stripped his clothes. I cut open his belly. You can see his guts. They're really pink. Sorry, that was
experimental.
One of the
that's what you do when you dissect fetal pigs in science class, you know, like when you're experimenting.
Exceptional aspects of Brian's.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. But yeah, you're making a lot of good points, and dude, you blew my mind a second ago with the way that, because I would actually do that. I would have pulled that laugh out too and been like, "Oh, the sick bastard." But when you really analyze everything we've went over so far, with how we've been saying he's weird the entire time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't pull out that one weird moment and say, "Oh, look at this strange guy." Like, that's such a good fucking point, bro. Like, I can't even get over that.
Yeah, people take these things and they contextualize it in that little window, you know? But when you contextualize it overall with what we're seeing, it makes more sense, you know, the other way. But, you know, that's just...
Nah, dude. Chris, real quick, I am going to run upstairs, use the bathroom real quick. I'm just going to let this roll, and I'll be right back, bro.
Confession is the level of detail he provides. Together with his casual commentary and jokes, these details convey to investigators that Brian is being fully truthful about what he did. It's also worth noting that morbid humor has long been one of Brian's trademarks.
What about other kids in the neighborhood or on the bus? He didn't really, you know, he had a couple of friends that he's had since elementary, but, you know, he had a morbid sense of humor and would make jokes, and I'd say, "Brian, that is not funny." He'd go, "Yeah, it is, Mom. You just don't get my sense of humor."
In an interview with prosecutors, Kylan Like, who's known Brian since the 9th grade and whose house Brian was visiting just before his arrest, says that being provocative is a hallmark of his personality.
When I first met him, he was very edgy, is the best way I can describe it. He loved to get a reaction out of people and say things that would make people have a double take. He wanted to go against the flow. His jokes were always in the realm of dark humor. Very rarely did he make jokes that weren't somehow relating to death or violence or destruction or breaking the law, or just basically just humor that is considered dark humor. And I know a couple of people personally who just hated him because that's kind of how he is. You either think it's hilarious or you hate it. And that's the people who think it was hilarious was a small percentage of people that unfortunately and embarrassingly included myself. And my very best friend of high school, Emily, was someone who hated him. And, you know, she's a bigger girl, and he would call her fat and call her pig and call anybody who looked like that things along the same line. Like, just spiteful, I guess, just trying to, like I said, get a rise out of people.
Kylan Like is not the only one who noticed Brian's love of sick humor. While in a youth diversion program 2 years earlier, Brian asked the other teens if they enjoyed a snack known as crispy meat bites. He joked that the recipe involved running your cat or dog through a meat grinder and then frying them up. Despite Brian's predilection for dark humor, Kylan's mom tells investigators that she never worried about her daughter being friends with him.
He didn't seem scary to me at the time. He just seemed unusual, like in the way that my nephew and other people I know that are on the spectrum are just a little unusual, like not a lot of eye contact, things like that. But he never struck me as scary. Like I said, I actually let my daughter and her friends, not that I was in charge of her friends, but I let her sleep over at his house like a month, 2 months, whenever New Year's. And his mom, as far as I know, she ran a daycare. So I thought, good with kids, whatever,
Okay. Not only does Brian's mom run a daycare, she runs it out of her home. Upon discovering the severed head in her son's closet that afternoon, she had to scramble to get parents to pick up their children before calling police.
And I sent home all the children. I had a few little kids over that I was watching, so I called their parents, and they said, "It's been a family emergency. Please come pick up your children right away. They're safe. They're not hurt." Parents came. I hope everything's okay, and they took their kids home.
Back in the interrogation room, Brian goes into further nauseating detail about the post-mortem mutilation of Warren Barnes.
Destroyed his eyes by stabbing them in. Okay. And then I cut off his hands. I put those in plastic Ziploc bags. And then I cut off his right arm at this joint and at this joint. And then at this arm, I tried cutting it here, and then I tried cutting it here. But what happened was I accidentally broke his bone. This one, it was poking out. And so I left that one here, partially cut, dismembered here, bone sticking out. And then I left his body there. And then I took the head, put it in a leftover pizza box from the dinner a few nights ago. And then I took the hands, put them in the back, drove home, hid the hands and head in my room, cleaned the knife, threw away the garbage with the blood on it, and then put the blood stained, wasn't stained, it had splatters on it. I put it in the dish, in the washing machine.
What did you put in there?
I put the outfit I murdered him in the washing.
Wearing, or?
Yeah, I was wearing. Okay. In our washing machine, put it on high speed so it would effectively remove the blood. Washed it twice.
You'll notice again that not only is Brian's level of detail remarkable and disturbing, he talks about the steps he took to avoid getting caught. These will undoubtedly be important elements to any eventual prosecution as it goes to establishing his state of mind.
I can back up just so I don't lose track of where my mind is. So you cut him open, did you cut his arms off, his hands off, all that before you went home?
Yeah, before I went home, I tossed the arm bits around. Like I took the right arm bit, threw it out, took the left arm bit, threw it out.
So it's somewhere around that bridge?
Yeah, but look in because I know crime scenes can be a very wide area. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to look in a 10-foot area. So like, this is a zoom in. So here's the road. And here's where my car was parked. His corpse is here.
The interview continues to get more and more bizarre. In addition to reliving the mutilation in full pantomime, Brian enthusiastically goes over the dimensions and location of the crime scene as if he's a police lieutenant giving a briefing to his officers.
I hope I'm being cooperative.
Oh, you're doing great. So you could have just walked over here.
I could have. There's no use trying to deceive.
So that's north, and you threw. What all did you throw while you were there? I mean, how many pieces am I looking for?
There are 2 pieces of arm. This section and this section, just in this general area. I couldn't say where they are.
Armed with information they've been fed from the interrogation, police officers descend on the area. There they find a scene that will no doubt haunt them for the rest of their lives.
It's right here. Yeah. Because there's an arm.
Oh my God.
Hey.
The female cop starts to laugh when she sees an arm.
It's a weird
It's
reaction.
unfortunate that the family and the court will hear this.
There's an arm,
Gallows
there's
humor.
another arm.
Yeah. You're right, but that's a good point, though, man. That would be horrible to hear in the courtroom. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm sure that lady sees like crazy shit like that all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and it's
No,
like
I think
if
you're
I
right
don't,
with the gallows
it's one of
humor.
those things like laugh or cry, you know.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, dude, yeah, if you're a cop or an EMT, lots of this stuff, I'm sure you have to
You
get through
get
your
people
day.
people deal with things fucking differently, whatever.
100%.
I like people get see that and get pissed off. Fuck yourself. Like not everybody deals with shit the same way. Like
Yeah, 100%.
that's traumatic
But
for
I
that
think-
lady to have to see a fucking dismembered arm. So like if she
Yeah.
has to laugh to get through her day, then fuck you. Let her fucking laugh. She's not hurting anyone.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I do think that he makes a good point about that would be once that is played in the courtroom, and then the family's there. That's going to be brutal. Like that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure that.
But I do agree with you. I mean, that's just literally in
But
real time.
but
how
I'm
she's
sure
reacting.
but I'm sure when that lady sees that, that's not her immediate thought. Is what'll the family think of me seeing this arm in the court? You know,
And you don't want them to think like that. I don't want a robot thinking like that. I want a real person out there. Like I would rather have that.
Yeah, let
But
her
yeah.
laugh and catalog the evidence or whatever she's doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do some pictures.
There's another one.
I don't have a clue.
It's like something out of TV.
Yeah.
That's what I would. This is like TV.
How these kids
It's
don't
just
have
like
any.
real
Right here's a leg. That could be the upper arm or a leg.
Well, there's 3. There, and there.
Pieces down there. I mean, if we can get the lab out here, that would be the best thing.
Thanks for hanging out, Derek.
Holy hell.
As police officers less than half a mile away take measure of the bleak crime scene under the bridge,
Just
Detective
to answer
Norcross
Dizzy in the chat real quick, she said, "Did he take the hands and head so he couldn't be ID'd or as a souvenir?" I think it was more experimental stuff. The experimenting was still going on. Maybe he was interested in observing the decomposition process. There's maggots on that and stuff. I don't know. I don't know his reasoning, but it definitely was not practical so he could get away with the crime. He tossed like the body parts haphazardly. I'm sure the crime scene was fucking gnarly. He left the corpse out. Clearly there was some hands and a head missing from the crime scene. You know, that's very conspicuous. That is not to get away with anything. That is like, I don't think he ever really planned on getting away with it.
And
even he was like, I know I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. 15,
And the fact
20
that
years,
he
you know?
only took the head and hands and still had so much blood in the fucking car coming out of the trunk, smeared on the back into the fucking
yeah. So to
license
answer
plate.
Dizzy, to answer Dizzy's question, I can't say exactly why. It could be a myriad of reasons why I don't know. If he wanted to look at him decompose or if he wanted to fuck with him some more, or like who the fuck knows. But it wasn't practical in the sense of him trying to get away with it.
Yeah, no.
I don't think.
Nothing's made sense yet in that regard. Like,
Yeah.
He's no mastermind. Even trying, he's just
probes more deeply into the
literally
whereabouts of
experimenting.
the
That's the best word for it, I think. Like
rest of Warren Barnes' remains.
You took, was it the head and the hands? And what did you put them in?
Well, there's a 3 rule for bodies. I like to call it the 3 rule.
Okay, tell me about that.
3 days, the body starts to stink. No, 3 hours, rigor mortis sets in. The body stiffens. 3 days, the body starts to stink because of decomposition. 3 weeks, the body is starting to seriously decompose.
Right.
3 months, the body is unrecognizable. 3 years, it turns into a skeleton.
And may I ask how you know that?
So you think someone who knows all that shit isn't trying to observe that process or something? Because he knows that people are like, someone's gonna find. He can't just keep driving by the body all the time, you know.
You're right, dude. No, you're 100%
Come on,
right.
let's put the pieces together, people.
Yeah,
we're all
I
smart.
think you
here.
are,
Let's
and I
do
don't
it.
think they are. Yeah, like you're nailing it, dude.
I have a fascination with forensics and with anatomy and physiology. That's something I made up. So that's something I don't want to sound like I'm inventing something. But that's why I coined the 3 rule.
You kind of remember it that way.
Yeah.
That's your way of remembering
Is it accurate?
Well, somewhat. So,
This segment is fascinating for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the remarkable display of skill on the part of Detective Norcross. who makes Brian feel as though she's mesmerized by his account of the 3 rule. She gives him a moment of validation at the end, and Brian's satisfaction is obvious. His ego is stroked, and he feels that he's earned the approval of the detectives.
Yeah, so what did you have the head and the hands at your house?
The head I put, because it was starting to stink, I was planning on throwing the head and hands away. Not in the trash bag. Not in the
I don't
trash.
think he smiled, just real quick. I don't think he smiled because he stroked his ego. I think he smiled from approval. He seems to be not like a huge like people pleaser, but a little bit like approval seeking. And I think these people are people that he like wants to be like, in a sense, or wants to be in their realm in a way. And I think maybe getting some validation or approval is not that he's like, I'm just as smart as them, like, which is how they presented it to be. I don't see it like that. I think he, you know, he felt a moment of approval from somebody who, you know, clearly he's thought about this a lot and wants to be in their shoes or be around dead bodies or whatever the fuck is going on in his crazy werewolf head. He's like barking and, you know, whatever. But, you know, just another thing that I disagree with that observation.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think you're right again, honestly.
But they were both in trash bags. The head was in a trash bag. I hid up the trash bag. Hands, I put in a trash bag as well. They were in Ziploc bags. And I was planning, do they sell empty paint buckets? Mm-hmm. I was planning to buy an empty paint bucket, put the head in it, seal it, and then I was going to throw it off in some ditch.
Okay.
The hands I would throw in a different spot, wherever.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I have it right. The head is inside of a trash bag.
It was.
Well, where is it now?
In the kitchen sink. My parents searched through my room and they found the head and hands.
Okay, and so are the head and the hands in the kitchen sink now?
Last time I checked.
Okay, so they're in the kitchen sink now because your parents put them there.
But they were in my closet.
As of now, investigators have only found a head, hands, and several pieces of arm. That leaves the mystery of where the rest of Warren Barnes is.
What exact kind of trash bag?
White.
White, like a kitchen one, or what? Like
a kitchen.
Okay, white kitchen.
That you put in a trash can.
Yeah. And then what about the hands? They were inside Ziplocs, you said.
Both in the same. Both in a different trash bag.
Okay, the white kitchen trash bag.
Yes.
But now they're in the kitchen sink.
Yes.
And you talked about cutting. I used to be a meat cutter. I know it's not easy just to cut off hands.
Oh yeah, it was with the knife. I was just.
So did you practice on anything else?
No.
Or how did you know how to do it?
No, I just went along as the process. The bones, I just pressed the blade down and went. Sever them at the ligaments.
Okay. And how hard was it to do that? To get them actually?
Not particularly hard. I was just more frustrated that I broke this bone.
So if you hadn't got frustrated, what was your... I mean, it sounds like what you did, we know. Did you have a different plan?
The original, because I always wanted to know what it felt like to cut up someone.
Okay.
So just...
So why did you stop? Where did you stop?
Because the arms were just... That's it. That's all I wanted to know was like cutting off a limb. And I'm just like, okay.
Again, the mind reels when confronted with the nonchalant attitude Brian has toward discussing the murder and dismemberment of a human being.
And you said you studied criminology and forensics and all that?
See, this isn't the same as talking to a bona fide fucking psychopath. Like, they're trying to portray him like that. I promise you, it's not the same.
That's another interesting angle, because you have talked to a fuck ton of actual
I've talked
psychopaths,
to a
right?
fuck ton of psychopaths.
Dude, that's interesting.
I've talked to the guy who placed. He was one of the highest placing on the hair psychopathy checklist, administered by like the dude Kent Keel, the dude who, like, if you want that test administered, that's the dude you want doing it. And this guy placed like 99%, like one of the most psychopathic individuals to ever take the test. And he had a 170 IQ.
Damn.
I'm telling you, this dude's just fucking autistic as fuck, man.
Yeah, because that dude you're talking about, a true genius.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, I've talked.
That's a high
I've
ass
talked to
IQ.
some, I've talked. Yo, he was very smart. I've talked to some legit psychopaths, a lot, dozens and dozens.
Dude,
And
that's
this
interesting
dude,
observation.
it's funny how it's like every time the laughing and all this, and how he's like casually discussing it. They'll casually discuss it in a sense that it just flows. This dude is casually discussing it because he doesn't know how else to present it. It's not like he practiced the presentation. He compulsively, obsessively thought about, hey, what's it like to kill? Say it's curiosity. He admitted himself it was a curiosity killing, and it was experimental. Now, how he felt about it, that's what I want to know, because if he was like, oh man, it was fucking awesome, that dude would kill again. But he might have been, he might have been like, oh yeah, I did it and I know what it's like now and whatever. I don't know this guy. I've never talked to him. I don't know much about him. But for people to say like he's a psychopath and this and that, like just off this, like I'm not seeing that. I don't know. And if that's the case, like, I don't know how susceptible this dude is to comprehensive rehabilitation. He's still young. His brain's not fully developed. Who the fuck knows? But like, people like to play experts and, like drop their 2 cents on this. But,
Damn, dude. Nah, Chris just broke it the fuck down. That was awesome, man.
Not college study or school study. It's like a passing interest.
I understand. But what were you worried about, like leaving evidence behind? Or
caught? Totally.
Tell me about that and what you did.
Well, I was figuring the police don't. This is not to be taken offense, but police, they don't seem to care as much about high-risk individuals, homeless people, prostitutes, etc. So I was deliberately looking for someone who lived that type of life.
Okay.
And I found a homeless person, and the original goal was just leave him there. But I was worried about the fibers on the outfit I was wearing that would be on his clothes and stuff. So I deliberately messed up the clothes.
This is an outstanding amount of premeditation for a youth offender. It's a shocking amount for anyone, but particularly because of his age. His executive functioning
Not really.
is
When you
years.
see all the fucking evidence he left behind and how shitty and sloppy this was, I mean, like
it wasn't throwing at all, bro. Throwing shit around.
It was a juvenile attempt at premeditation for them to dramatically for them to dramatically be like, look at the cat, all the premeditate. It's like, it wasn't genius math, like crazy evil diabolical premeditation. It was stupid surface level juvenile shitty premeditation. Yes, it was premeditation. Yes, absolutely. But they're making it to be this like they
are amping it up with the voiceover.
I've never watched these before, and now I know why.
Dude,
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
That was from Chris.
From being developed, and yet he's thought so much of this through. It's chilling to think what he may have been capable of had he not been caught. Brian remains engaged, casual, and even jovial as he describes his mindset on the night of the murder. His detailed concerns about getting caught will make it very difficult for his lawyers to mount an effective insanity defense. According to Kylan Like's mother, Heather Gale, this isn't the first time that Brian talked about choosing a victim on the outskirts of society.
Anything else things you've heard from Kylan come to mind?
She told me that he had mentioned that he was going to kill a homeless person because nobody would miss them and he could get away with it.
Yet once in an interview, Kylan tells a different story.
He never talked to me about wanting to kill a homeless person specifically, but he definitely talked to me a lot about, like, killing. And I was actually surprised because I figured that if he was going to do something like this, that it would be on a larger scale. Like, I thought he would, I don't want to sound vulgar, but I figured if he was going to snap, it would be like shooting up a store or something similar like that. And he had mentioned, like, not liking his neighbors, so I thought maybe something would happen there. So I was actually I was surprised that he had killed someone, but I was also surprised that it had only been one person.
So how long have you been planning or looking for someone to do this with before you found this guy?
About a year.
About a year?
No, 6 months.
Brian's internet search history adds an interesting element to this as he looked up homicidal thoughts every day and how to cope with murderous thoughts.
So you come close or seen somebody or chickened out or anything in the past?
No. I mean, I was looking for a deliberately secluded place like that one. I wouldn't just go up in Clifton and find someone walking down the street and stab them. No, that's too public. Everyone sees that.
Well, have you looked like at the homeless places or anything in the past?
I have, yes. I would go on night drives often, maybe once every 2 weeks. Now just peruse the streets.
So before this guy, how close have you come in the past?
Not at all.
Not at all? You just drive around? And
yeah, look, just try and find
is anybody interesting? And
no.
In your mind thought of a plan?
Well, occasionally when you see girls walking down the street, I take a glance at them because it really is like Ed Kemper where half of me says, well, I'm quite inept with women. I'm being honest, I'm no Casanova. But half of me says, I want to take that girl home and make her feel nice. And the other half of me, it's just like what Ed said, is I want to see what her head looks like on a stick.
Brian is describing a mindset that's detestable, yet he delivers it with a smile and a laugh. His obvious excitement in describing both his mindset and the murder raises questions about his psychological history. As well, another internet search Brian made reveals that he may have considered other sickening plans as well, as he searched for how do people react to a home invasion. However grisly Brian's sense of humor might seem, it's again worth noting that it's a trait his friends are familiar with. One of Brian's friends, Patrick Rahor, spoke with police.
Our whole friend group was like really weird. We were like all of those. We're just a group of people like didn't really fit anywhere else and ended up like finding each other at different points throughout school. We were just all kind of weird together. And so like the off-filler stuff and like anything that like seemed weird, I just kind of like took for Brian being Brian and just kind of tried to accept it.
However, even his friend must admit that Brian was different.
Our friend group would joke about if there was one of us that would like be a killer, it would be him, but it was like meant as a joke and only as a joke. I don't think any of us actually thought that something like that would or could happen.
If his friends thought this, was there a chance that his parents did too?
Tell me about Brian. Does he have any kind of mental issues or disabilities? We were told he had ADHD. Okay, so we put him on ADHD medicine. He didn't get it during the summer or weekends only when he was in middle school. He started exhibiting antisocial behavior, just saying things to get kids riled up and thinking it was funny. And then when we switched to Fruita High School, he did okay in 9th grade, 10th grade. He got in a lot of trouble, a lot of behavior issues. 11th grade, we had a big meeting and they said, kids don't get it. So we put him in R5. We took him and did some testing for ADHD and whatnot through Division of Rehab. And the doctor had said, yes, he's ADHD. Yes, he's autistic. Yes, he's this. Oh, and there's some indications that he should get further testing because of potential psychosis. And I asked about referrals and called, and nobody in town would see him. Okay, well, he seems to be doing good. You know, he graduated high school. He works at Safeway, and he's been working there for a year in August, and he's there part-time. And he said he's not taking his medication, or is he on medications now? He's on ADHD medicine, okay, that he takes before work on his part-time job, and he takes sertraline, which is an anti-anxiety, antidepressant. Okay, so he's been diagnosed. And to the best of your knowledge, is he actually taking them? Like, do you watch him take them? I don't watch him take them, but I have an alarm set, and every night at 10 p.m. I say, Brian, take your medicine. And he says, I know, I am. And as I looked at his pill container, I mean, it's going, you know, seems to be going down.
Anxiety, depression, ADHD. What was it? Anxiety, depression, ADHD, and autism?
I think so, yeah.
kid got dealt a hand.
Yeah, that's a lot to deal with, and you can clearly see that all over him.
Yeah.
About, I'm thinking 3 years ago? I'm guessing, I don't know. Because we had him going to counseling, he was going to counseling, and he just thought about it, it just came across his head. It was just, but then I think everybody thinks about it, but I just remember one of the times when he was really lonely and that was an issue, you know, we were kind of concerned about that. He made jokes about making nooses or doing that and doing that.
Okay.
But I don't know, I just played it off as normal talk, but I'm like, you know, Brian, we wouldn't, you know, I didn't know the depth of the water. I don't understand. He's obviously sick. He's obviously very sick, because we've noticed weird things about him. So he gets cold. Just he looks at me and he has this cold look on his face.
Just like he's been so far, Brian makes no qualms about admitting his battles with mental health.
You say you have a major depressive disorder? I'm just curious what those are.
Well, actually, I have several. I have high-functioning Asperger's. I have ADHD and major depressive disorder.
Okay.
Major depressive, so you were wondering what that last one is?
Yeah, I know what they are. I was curious, what the exact diagnosis was and who diagnosed them.
They tested me for autism for a formal diagnosis, like Asperger's, which is high-functioning autism.
Yep.
And they also said I was schizo something. That isn't me misremembering. They just said you're schizo something, whether that be schizophrenia, schizoaffective, schizotypal, or schizoid disorder. They said I had something that was schizo.
The detectives are once again trying to delve into Brian's psychology, attempting to prove that he knew right from wrong at the time of the murder. His search history adds another layer to his story as he looked up extreme paranoia, schizoid and paranoid personality disorder, and avoidant personality.
I was never formally diagnosed with anything like that.
It's like, you know what's interesting with him is he is smart. He's like smart enough to know what's wrong with him, and he can literally look it up and like figure it out, and like he can contemplate what's wrong with him, where sometimes these people can't. Like, that's a different level of, like, I don't know. That's wild to me. Like, that's kind of interesting to think about.
This isn't coming off as like all of this emotional detachment and everything you see. A lot of times when people see these horrible murders and serial killers and someone who, you know, does all the gnarly shit, they think it's, you know, like a social disorder. But this, I think it's his autism is just like super gnarly and like, you know, fucked mirror neurons and things like that. And that could very same, you know, and so, I mean, that would explain it. Like, you know, given his other shit, like his dad said he would just get really cold, you know, demeanor and stuff. Like maybe there's like some mood shit going on.
Yeah. That would kind of go into the depression thing, I think.
Nobody said anything yet about him being diagnosed with any personality disorder or social disorder, like anything like that. Even, you know, as a juvenile, an easy diagnosis. I was diagnosed with this because I was like a really, you know, shitty kid. Is oppositional defiant disorder. Like that hasn't even popped up here. So I think all this, like, you know, insinuations of like this, you know, psychopathic coldness. Not that that's, but you know, that's like, I think they're trying to steer it, you know, like that. But I don't see it. This kid's like, nah, he ain't cut from that cloth. But he, I do see like a super heavy compulsion. I see like obsessive, like compulsive, like shit, like crazy amounts. I can't believe he hasn't said he's not diagnosed with OCD.
Yeah,
but,
dude. Yeah, bro,
like,
for real.
Yeah, but I'm not like, yeah.
That's when they
missed.
On the day
saying. Go ahead.
I was going to say, on the day they were passing out all those things, they're like, you're diagnosed with blah, 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 blah. They missed OCD because that was definitely wrong.
Go grab an OCD out of the basket. No more OCD. All right.
We can only do 4 in a day, Doc. We've never went over 5, Pocket.
We got him good enough. It's good. Send him.
This kid's thoroughly fucked. Just tell him that.
Do you feel like you have that?
I don't know. Possible as hell. Self-diagnosing is foolish.
Yeah. But do you know, schizophrenia is pretty clear because people recognize they have a different personality in there.
I don't have any hallucinations.
Okay.
I had delusions, I guess.
Okay.
Like years ago, I thought I was obsessed with people staring at me.
Okay.
Like, I felt people watching me from every window. The birds were looking at me, watching me for greater purpose. That was a delusion, I suppose.
Right. But you don't have times where you feel like another personality is in your body?
No,
you remember all this.
That's dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
Schizophrenia is.
But you have multiple people talking to you at the same time, kind of a thing.
Dude, he knows way too much about this stuff than the average person to not be like constantly digging back into this well.
Yeah, dude.
And it's just like I don't think it's a thing where it got so, people say like the bloodlust and stuff, like they can't like, oh, I gotta fucking kill some, I don't think it was that. I don't think that he like had to kill, or it was like a lot of people would say thrill kill. I don't know if this is a thrill killing. I don't know if he got a thrill from this, I don't know if he knew that he was going to get a thrill from this, or, like, that's why I say this is more curiosity experimental.
Experimental still works the best because, he's not really doing it, for a thrill per se. Like if he's experimenting and he's just been studying this and thinking about, again, going back to decomposition, how's this thing going to decay? Maybe that's why he took it back. Like all that makes so much sense. And that's just interest. Like he's not getting hard and getting his rocks off while he's doing it like some
right. So it's like I think it's just like got so compulsive, and like Brooklyn said, he wanted the broader experience. He's flat feeling, he's probably on medication, whatever. He clearly has like these super compulsive, he's obsessing over it. I think that's super fucking clear, like that he's obsessed with this stuff. He's not showing an interest in like really anything else. His friends said all his jokes were about death and violence. He was constantly saying things about killing and death and violence. Like this seems like crazy compulsion. Like dude's like
he was obsessed with it. He couldn't shake it. It was and when something like that, it seems like in this particular individual's head, he can't shake it. Right? He's thinking about it all the time.
And he wanted the experience. I don't think it was an emotional thing or like a thrilling thing or something that he did for a feeling. I think he did it for more knowledge is what it seems like to me. I don't think he can comprehend that as like the feeling or even like understand it for what it is. I think he wanted the knowledgeable experience, more in depth.
It's hard to really even kind of like absorb that as the reasoning, right? Because you want to be like, this barbaric piece of shit, he's went out and he's murdered this, and that is horrible and it makes a lot of sense, but dude, at the same time, this dude's fascinated with death. He's fascinated with what happens after death. Like
this is just, again, my snap, like what I'm saying.
I think you're fucking nailing it, bro. Like it makes too much sense. Like
I mean that's how it all comes off to me. But
no one was talking to me.
There's a very good reason they're asking these questions. Because Brian said he has some kind of schizodiagnosis, they're trying to determine if he committed the crime under some kind of command hallucination, which may mean he could be deemed not guilty by reason of insanity. However, Brian denies having voices in his head. As well, his search history goes far in showing exactly what he was thinking about in the lead-up to the murder. One day before and again on the day of the murder, Brian pulled up Wikipedia articles for several notorious killers, including James Dale Ritchie, Joseph Christopher, and Andrea Yates. In the month leading up to the murder, he also looked up topics such as how do people react to being held at knife point? How deadly is a...
Yeah, that could go back to... I do a lot of fucked up research.
A neck stab wound. And he read an article about the killing of a homeless man in Baton Rouge.
What did you think would happen if you got caught?
Well, I figured my mother would have confronted me about it, but no, she didn't even say it.
Johnny, I'm not putting too much stock into the animalistic noises and the growling and stuff. I think that's the autism, dude. I mean, I know a guy whose nickname is literally the Werewolf Butcher. And he used to tell me that, he would howl at the moon. Look him up. His name is, God damn it, I forget his name.
The Werewolf Butcher.
Yeah, look him up real quick. He's in Washington. I haven't talked to him in years and years and years. He's one of the That's him. He's one of the gnarliest killers I've ever spoken to, and he is legit like gnarly as fuck and used to like howl and if you want to see some really like it's gnarly.
Yeah, I don't know this dude.
It's probably like top 3 worst serial killer cases I know of.
For you to say that, that's wild.
Yeah, and it's not that he had a lot of victims. It's just like what he did, and like after talking to him and stuff, he is the coldest dude I've ever spoken to.
Dude, even envisioning that, Spielman later told a cellmate
this guy is straight up evil. Straight up fucking evil.
He looks pure evil too, but Spielman later told a cellmate that he stalked his victims prior to killing them as he imagined himself as a werewolf. Like just visualizing that so fucking terrifying.
And this dude was fucking gnarly. Now this other kid, this seems like playtime when he did it. Started growling, saying dirty, stinky, and growling. Yeah. Okay. No, that's autism. Sorry. That's him thinking that that's what he should do in that moment because he's researched all these other killers and all this other shit. And then that's like his compulsions and, that's all of that. He doesn't know how to act for real. That's not genuine. That dude right there, that dude's the gnarly guy that you think that this guy is.
I got you, man. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into that dude.
Was it you killed him?
No, I took his wallet. I didn't look at it. I just picked it up, briefly scanned over it, and put it in my car. Apparently, it was Warren. My mom told me this before she found out that the missing person was Warren Brown, born in '63.
Brian doesn't seem particularly interested in knowing more about his victim, and the detectives turn Brian back to the subject of the evidence.
So we talked about the stuff there we're going to go look for. Your mom's off in the sink, apparently.
Yeah.
The knife is where?
My dad found it in the glove box. I don't know where it is.
What did the knife look like that you found in the...
You know when you buy like a 10-piece knife set, the biggest one in there?
Okay.
I think when we moved Terry into the daycare, we probably bought all new kitchens.
He just described knives how I would describe a knife. You know when you buy a bunch at Walmart and the biggest one, boom.
I think he just took it out of the kitchen. Because we found it in his car before. Brian, you don't need this. Dad, I do. I don't trust anybody.
Okay.
You don't find any blood or anything on it. I cleaned it. All his belongings, except for his wallet, are right here.
And his head in his hands.
His head and his hands are at the house.
Any reason you were wearing a dark blue one-piece jumper set?
You know the movie Halloween, Michael Myers?
Mm-hmm.
He wears one of those, and for Halloween last year, I bought that as a costume to find the mask in my room.
Okay.
And I just associated that piece of that article of clothing with violence. That's why I was wearing it.
That night?
Yes.
As horrifying as all of this is, nothing they've heard so far can prepare investigators for the rest of the seismic revelations to come. First, however, detectives have a simple question for the killer sitting before them.
Have you ever done it before?
No.
Okay. You gotta ask, right?
Yeah.
How about animals? Have you practiced on anything?
Yes.
It's pretty big stuff.
Tell me about that.
It was 2018 Halloween. A stray black cat had been coming around our house. This was before I moved into my mom's. This was at my dad's. And I was thinking about killing it.
The video is redacted in this part, but the transcript from the sheriff's office says that Brian told detectives that he herded the cat into a sleeping bag and beat it, strangled it, and snapped its neck. He then decapitated the cat, hid the body in a shoebox, and hid the head in a wine cork box. It seems clear that Brian has a sick interest in decapitation. There are chilling parallels between what he did to the cat and to Warren, including decapitation and keeping the heads in boxes. Both times he preyed on those he knew were vulnerable and that he believed no one would notice.
And then I disposed it in the trash and got away.
and he thinks, oh, this is the logical, this is what they do, I'm gonna check this out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This kid seems to be just like, it's like a someone wrote a script, like textbook, you know, like it, he doesn't have so in serial killing and stuff like that, there's called signature elements, and he's not really showing any like he's not showing anything original, he's not showing anything genuine. This is all like his these actions are, you know, putting on the Michael Myers mask, and you know,
that one is weird, right? And using the same knife that Michael Myers would have used, that butcher knife style.
Yeah, I think, and then like killing animals and stuff like this, I don't think this is a natural progression of like a psychopathic individual. I think this is a, you know, a dude who read about this stuff and developed, you know, really, you know, horrible compulsive interest, and that was unsatiable, and he was trying to, you know, quench that, you know. I don't know, man. I don't see the cold-blooded psychopath. I see just, you know, like this kid clearly like is not working well socially, and
psychopath.
Yeah, I know a lot of them.
Thinks that he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio.
So, and what's eating Gilbert Grape? I agree.
Oh shit! Yeah, now he looks like more like that version of Leo, actually.
Okay. Did you keep him for a while, like you did this guy, or?
I kept it for 3 days. Then it started to stink.
So you got the 3 days and it stinks.
Also because bacteria starts to coat the body after a day to 3 days. So.
The story that Brian might have killed a cat is actually a widespread rumor in Grand Junction.
Did you ever hear about Brian, either from him or anybody else, about him killing a cat?
Yes, I remember hearing about it, but it also just sounded like made-up rumor, so I didn't really think anything about it.
Did you ever talk to him directly about it? Like ask him if it was true?
Might have. I don't really remember.
Do you ever remember him saying, yes, I did that, or no, I didn't? Anything like that? Okay. But you had heard rumors that possibly it happened, but never really got to the bottom of it?
Mm-hmm.
Patrick is not the only one to hear rumors of this type and ignore them, saying it was some kind of a sick joke.
I know that there was another girl in that class who told me that she lived near him in that neighborhood and that they were always missing cats, and she felt like he was stealing cats in the neighborhood.
And honestly, I don't remember if I found that out through him or through friends.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely know about the cat.
Did you believe that, or did you think it was just Brian saying something outrageous?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I believed it, but that I didn't want to, because I am a big animal lover, and that's just, I didn't want to see my friend in that kind of light. I remember my friends just talking about how messed up it was, and my friend Sean said that he knew the person whose cat it was, and he was super upset because the cat was like super friendly or whatever. But I don't think I ever heard it around Brian himself.
In a redacted portion of the interrogation video, Brian admits to finding a dead groundhog by the side of the road, which he skinned and attempted to make leather out of approximately a year before the murder.
It sounds like you killed a cat.
Well, actually, I was thinking of killing people during the cat, but I wasn't acting on it. But I started seriously thinking about killing people a year ago.
How about when you were 12? Did you think about killing people? So what in your life has changed, or what in your mind has changed to make you?
I don't know.
Was it like something all of a sudden one day you woke up and thought I'll kill someone, or was it a gradual?
It was gradual, I think.
So tell me about when those thoughts first started happening.
Well, in high school.
The interrogation is again redacted here, but Brian says, quote, "Called me weird, but I think everyone has had thoughts of shooting up their school. I suppose I just don't really like people."
But he wanted to read really bizarre things and things that we didn't have in the library. I remember he actually checked out a book about Son of Sam, and then the next quarter he wanted to read about the Columbine shootings. He was very obsessed with just that kind of darker stuff.
You mentioned a writing assignment, and I can't remember.
I used to walk around high school with a Charles Manson book, okay? And actually the Encyclopedia of Serial Killers. You can't buy into that shit, okay? Like I've always enjoyed dark.
This is true. I got sent to the to the counselor because I had Clifford Leindecker's Kids Who Kill, and I was like 13, 14, something like that.
They're like, whoa,
and someone, and I was a fucking behavioral problem, and it alarmed somebody.
Dude, the combination there actually kind of makes sense now that you're saying. Like, he just won't listen to anything, and he's got this book.
Specific, just because it's been so long, but it does seem like there was at some point something he wrote, an idea about Columbine or something like that. And I can't remember really the specifics.
Okay.
It's more of a sense that he had an unhealthy fascination with school shootings.
Back in the interrogation, Brian tells the detectives that this isn't the first time his family has found something unsettling in his room.
Last year, my parents found a kit I had been assembling. It had hammers, shovels.
She was just saving herself just in case. She's like, if this kid ends up doing it, I'm going to be on the good side. Just in case. Just in case he's...
Knives, large zip ties, duct tape, saw. That was meant for hurting people. They found it though, and I had convinced them it was for other methods, for other things. And it was an ultimatum where if I didn't throw it away, all that, they would call the police. And then I would have been arrested on charges of conspiracy. That was last year, before Halloween.
So what made you put that kit together?
That was for nights like that.
So back then you were thinking about doing that?
Yes. So that was $100 thrown away.
In an interview, Brian's high school teacher recalls that his parents didn't seem overly interested in his disturbing behavior.
We weren't obviously the only class that was having issues with him, and I remember said that they had met with mom, and she kind of, I think they said, like, didn't really understand, like, what's the big deal sort of thing. Like, she wasn't really like, yeah, this is serious, or we need to get ahead of it. It sounded like they didn't get anywhere with her from what I remember.
Indeed, a friend of Brian's mom notes that Terry felt that school authorities were unfairly singling out her son.
Terry had like a binder, I remember, of information that she had conflicts with District 51.
Okay.
I know growing up as a kid, he was really...
denial and so passive and denial.
Yeah.
They
don't want to own any of it, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, even I don't know, man. I don't want to say, like, all the warning signs were there, But I think like they could have been a little bit more parental, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. God, honestly, I couldn't imagine being in that situation that happens. But that's also why I don't have kids. I couldn't.
I don't know how to take care of them,
bro. I've said that on here many times. I cannot fathom shaping that person's brain and making them be decent in life. And then I've always said it, they'd be good at first, but then as soon as they get off into school,
say your prayers, eat your vitamins, over, little brother,
bro. Dude, yeah, it's over.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Accused in school that they would call him fluorite, geek, loser, dork, all that stuff.
But the detectives in the interrogation room are more interested about his murderous intentions in the preceding months.
I'm really curious when you talked about the hammer and the shovels and the knives and like the zip ties. I mean, what was kind of your plan then? That's a little bit different than you did this time.
Oh yeah.
So what was the plan back then?
The plan was to go find, because there's no prostitutes in Grand Junction, I don't think. Have you ever had any sex crimes?
Yeah. There's not prostitutes like 5 of them standing along the side of the road, but there's prostitutes in Grand Junction.
Yeah, the plan was to go with one of them and have them come with me. And then the plan was to subdue them and tie them up and then torture her.
So what made you not go back to the same plan and get, if you kind of had that as a plan?
Would I have been caught?
Well, I don't know. My point is, if your folks, your mom found your stuff, right?
Yes.
And got rid of it. Why didn't you go back to that plan? Why change plans?
Too much risky. First time in a row, they'll be like, okay, that's really suspicious, but okay, we forgive you, don't do it again.
Okay.
Second time in a row, we're calling the police on you. I didn't want to do that again.
Okay, fair enough.
Risk.
And so they didn't call the police?
No, because they gave me an ultimatum, have them throw it all away or call the police. So I threw it all away.
Detective Norcross does an excellent job showing great interest in Brian's kits and his previous plans, all of which encourages the suspect to keep talking and helps build a strong case against him. At this point, the video is redacted, but according to the transcript, The detectives ask Brian if he ever expressed any of his dark thoughts to his parents. He tells them yes, but only disguised as jokes. For instance, he once said, quote, "Wouldn't it be funny if you sold a lipstick with mercury on it to those beauty pageant queens, and they got poisoned because of their pride?" Brian was making these kinds of comments while in high school, as his teacher shares.
And then he would just say some bizarre things, like to get a rise out of class, kind of to try and get attention on him, like just say a racial slur, or, just kind of be loud and obnoxious to try and get attention.
Were those outbursts like pretty random, just in the middle of class, or?
Well, like one was watching a video, I think it's about like Genghis Khan or something. He said something like, an Asian racial slur. I think it was, "Oh, he got that," or something like that.
Okay.
Of course, the matter before investigators today isn't Brian's inappropriate humor, but his actions on the night of the murder, and the revelations from that night are far from over. Brian finally reveals the twisted true story behind his mishap with his car and the river 2 nights ago.
What were you doing down here, bud?
Well, I felt like I needed to get out, and I figured, why not park here and just
relax a little bit?
Relax and think.
As it turns out, Brian's road trip to the Blue Heron boat ramp had absolutely nothing to do with relaxation. He explains to the detectives that after he murdered Warren Barnes, he returned home to try and sleep.
But I was worried that because there was a hole in my gloves right here, I was worried that they would be able to obtain a partial print. So I figured, why not go all the way? I drove back in a different outfit, picked up his body, surprisingly heavy, put it in my trunk, and drove to the Blue Heron drop-off station. I parked, so it's like this, right? So let's say this is ground. The ramp is quite steep, and you need to have four-wheel drive to pull out of it.
Okay.
And my car didn't. So I pulled in. I thought that I could drive out because I put it in reverse, A, so that it's easier to pull the body out, and B, because the back tires would provide propulsion to push up.
Right.
And I open the trunk, I take his body out, I put it in the water, and because I don't want fingerprints on a body, so I just try moving it with my shoes. That works successfully. He goes out some part in the river and floats off.
Okay.
God knows where he is now. Maybe a he. He's dead.
Still a he.
Okay, yeah. God knows where he is now. I think my guess was that it would be discovered this morning or next morning, so keep an eye out for any river-related activity.
Okay.
To inevitably drive out.
Yeah.
My car didn't come out.
From Blue Heron.
Yeah, from Blue Heron.
Yeah.
My car was stuck. I tried putting it full throttle.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. My car doesn't have four-wheel drive. Stupid me.
Okay.
And so then I tried putting it in low gear. I'm trying everything with this.
Right.
And it still doesn't come out. And then it slides into the river.
Oh.
My car slides into the river, me inside. And so I'm there in a car quickly being flooded with water.
Okay.
It's the middle of February.
It's cold.
At night.
Yeah.
In the river that's almost freezing.
Yes.
I'm drenched. I almost died. So I'm able to climb out. I don't see the body, so I assume it's traveled a bit.
Okay.
I come up, and I'm sitting there. I need to act fast or else I'll die of hypothermia. I'm panicking a bit at this point. I'm going to be like, this is what I'm going to be remembered for, dying of hypothermia and a botched attempt at hiding a body. And I'm just like...
Once again, we see Brian in good spirits while sharing what could pass as an amusing anecdote if it were not for the horrifying truth behind what he's describing. His story also shows that he has a preoccupation with how he'll be remembered.
And what did you tell your parents? I mean, you obviously, got to tell them something. The car's in the river.
Yeah. So what I say is, I feel like I need to get out. I often do. I feel like I need to get out. Hear my thoughts. Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd say that I drive down to the Blue Heron Point and just park and just turn off the car and think. And I tell them that I'm stupid and I park too low and then my car slides in the river.
Okay. Did they believe you?
Yes. And then the police came. I didn't do a breathalyzer test because I wasn't drinking.
Was it the police or the sheriff that came?
It was the police.
Okay.
In addition to the rest of the damning evidence Brian relays to the detectives, he now reveals that he was not intoxicated on the night of the murder, closing off another potential defense in court.
However, what immediately caught the police's attention is blood from the body was on the reverse bumper. I forgot to wipe it off. And I was so panicked that I wasn't thinking. And so when they pull it out, they immediately see blood on the bumper. And they're all thinking, we really like to get in this trunk. Fools. There is nothing in the trunk.
Okay. And that happened this morning?
No, they noticed
See, look
it
at
last.
this. Look at this. He's not trying to get away with this to avoid punishment and like kill again and stuff like this. This is a game. You see? Like, this is a fucking game to him. Any part of this, of him trying to get away with a murder, was just to see like if he could, win this game, if he could outsmart them.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It doesn't seem. I don't know, man.
He
It's
did a
like
fucking terrible job of it. He's sloppy as fuck.
He fucking sucks as a murderer.
Terrible, dude.
I mean, he yeah.
It's fucking. This is insane though. But yeah, it is unique, I guess, because, and I'm sure there's tons of other ones, but someone kind of exactly like this cat, like this level, because all people on the spectrum can be all different variables of all kinds of different degrees of how they understand or how they interact. This one's interesting because he is highly functioning.
Yeah.
And clearly fucking smart as shit. But dude, I do think you're nailing
I think like all of his stuff seemed like things that he researched, or something that was of interest to him, or something that he wanted to check out, what like the experience of something that he read about. Like none of it seems genuine to him, with like trying to all this shit, like he's horrible at trying to get away with this. He thinks about it way too much, and he's just this dude is he's just fucking stupid. And he just got this. I don't think he's insane or anything like that. I'm not gonna make excuses for this dude. He's like, if he's not already, I think this case is a couple years old. If he's not already in prison, or he should probably try to get a plea deal.
I think the trial was a year ago or so, and it seems like he's in life without parole.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and that's just part of it. Was he aware that, like, of the consequences and what they were? I don't think so, because when he was like, "Oh, I'm probably going to get 15 years," is that an excuse or anything? No, So I mean, like,
but yeah, he was already, as soon as he came in, I'm probably going to get 20 years. Out the gate, already kind of like rationalizing in his head.
Yeah.
Wasn't probably thinking the life, I guess, but.
Yeah, I mean, again, like when it comes to like that stuff, he didn't know too much. But when it comes to like all the the violent shit that spoke to him for whatever reason, like
dude,
he's just
deep.
Yeah, and it seemed like he's just like he personalized and personified it, and wanted to he couldn't get deep enough. That was his fucking problem. I think that's the fault of his being autistic, and maybe being depressed had something to do with it. And it's like this dude's pretty fucked and got dealt a shitty hand. But it made a very, I'm not going to say this dude's evil. I see a lot of people saying he's evil. I don't think this dude's evil. I think he's just a gnarly cocktail of like just the wrong shit that made this, like,
Yeah.
I know people that are evil like that. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think, he's not functioning right, and into the wrong stuff, and doesn't know when to stop. And it's a horrible recipe, a horrible cocktail of things.
Dude, yeah, I think you're absolutely nailing it. It's crazy.
They noticed it after I'd been sent home at 3 a.m.
Okay.
They noticed the blood, but yeah, this morning they noticed more blood on the door handle, the other door handle, passenger one, and also the multi-layered gloves in the car. I took them out, and obviously my car went murder before I was able to throw them away.
Sure. So did the cops talk to you guys about that this morning?
Mm-hmm.
Did the cops from the police department, did they talk to you about that this morning?
No, I was not contacted.
Oh.
Brian's car was pulled out of the river in the early morning hours of February 28th, and this interrogation takes place the next day.
All they were planning to do with me today is get my insurance information.
Sure.
And they were still curious about the blood.
Did they ask you about that?
No, because they did not notice it while I was still there.
So when you say they were curious about the blood, how do you know that they were curious?
Because my parents told me.
Oh.
And they saw the blood too, and they were curious, but I said, I don't know where the blood came from. And they thought maybe it was this cut, but obviously a cut doesn't produce that much blood. And they said maybe it was the recovering abscess under my arm, but that's scabbed up. So they didn't know what to believe this day because it's blood, it's sticky, it's sinewy, but I can't name a source. So they were just a tiny bit curious. Not tiny bit.
This is another spot of his oddly placed laughter, showing that he really enjoys talking about the sick details. However, his position of superiority didn't last long. Police do indeed find more blood in and on the car, confirming Brian's tale.
And I was worried about just how long it would take to find him because it's a somewhat traveled road. Police have a nose for that type of thing. They're trained to be able to identify the smell of a corpse.
See, I don't know
obviously
that
that
he
was botched.
feels. They just talked about his superiority. I don't know that he feels superior right there. I mean, he seems comfortable and stuff, but I don't know that I'd say superior because of how he's talking to him. I don't know. I just don't.
The true story of what happened at the boat ramp will come as news to his friend Kylan Like, with whom Brian shared a very different account.
What a weird last
First, though, on the very same night that he dumped Warren's body into the river, Brian messaged a group on Discord, which Kylan was part of. He wrote, "So, I totaled my car. It's in the river." One of his friends replied, "What? You okay?" Brian wrote back, "Yeah, I okay. My car aren't, though."
So I said, "Hey, are you okay? I don't have Discord RN, but I heard the news." And he said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Almost died, LOL. Sorry for the late response. My phone was off." I said, "It's okay. What happened?" He said, "I was out driving, needed to clear my thoughts, so I park at the boat ramp, drop off at the river, but my dump parks on the dirt and mud ramp. So when I try and leave, it gets stuck. I don't have my phone on me because it's dead. I try shimmying it, low gearing it, nothing works. Then it slides into the river, me inside. I'm able to get out, drenched in cold water, 1 a.m. I responded, "Oh my God." He said, "It's freezing out in February at night. I know I'll die of hypothermia if I don't act fast, so I make my way onto the road and wait for a car that takes 5 minutes. I flag him down, and the Samaritans help me by letting me use their phone to call my parents and to heat up in their car. I said, "Jesus Christ, dude." He said, "They arrive, the police are called, and we collectively decide to wait until tomorrow to tow it out. So in summary, I nearly died and am out of a car. It was towed out this morning, but I'm fine. Sorry for the wall of text. That was my Saturday night."
The Samaritans Brian mentioned are Durwood Pfeiffer and his grandson Kellen, who stopped to help him that night. In an interview, Kellen describes Brian's behavior at the boat ramp.
During the encounter, before his family got there, he kept kind of pacing around and saying, "I'm effed," expletive, and try to calm down a little bit because I thought he was kind of concerned about his family finding out he crashed his car in the river or something. And I was like, "Hey, it's going to be okay," And it seemed to calm down a little bit, but I just remember it was a little off-putting how he just kept on pacing, saying, "I'm effed, I'm effed, I'm effed," this over and over and over again. So.
With his attempts to dispose of the body and cover his tracks, Brian is showing clearly that he knows right from wrong. His mindset is further demonstrated by his search history on the day after the murder, when he looked up how to wipe data from Android phone. Does a river wash away evidence? How to dispose of organic refuse.
Clearly
his history also contains numerous
blood.
searches for information on serial killers, a subject Brian has great interest in.
Whoa, what were those again? Denver prostitute killer, Daytona Beach killer, Chicago strangler, Kenneth Bianchi. You know that one? That one?
Yeah.
Smiley face murder theory.
I've talked to both of them on the phone before.
Whoa.
Yeah, he
Steve
they say
that shit though.
Yeah, they're talking about. I'm watching him. They're talking about his superiority and because he's talking and he's saying things like in a knowledgeable sense, like you're like like, almost like teaching or lecturing or something like that. But he's like, he doesn't, I'm not seeing confidence. I'm not seeing him dominating the conversation. I'm not seeing him, I don't see indications of superiority here,
Gotcha.
I think maybe he's, trying to be on the same level. I don't know what, I don't know if this dude just talks like this all the time and this is just how he describes everything. It seems like maybe so, seeing the wall of texts he sent, but then he apologized, so maybe that's not a normal thing. I don't know, but I don't see that he's like feeling superior in the interrogation. That's not what I'm picking up.
For information on serial killers, a subject Brian has great interest in.
I read books. I have a book on forensics.
Okay. Did you read the book, the Ted Bundy book?
No, it was on the internet.
Yeah, okay. All right. And Pete has studied him too. Yeah, so.
Crazy.
Do you know who Ed
Gein?
No, Ed in California.
Ed Kemper.
Yeah. Studied him?
I know of him. He was
a Goliath.
He was 6'9", 300 pounds.
So can I ask you a question? Almost all those people did this for some sort of, whether they had sex with the body or it was some sexual gratification in their mind?
Criminology, there's different types of. I'm not a serial killer by no means. But with serial killers, there's different types of them. There's organized, disorganized, visionary, missionary.
I'm just wondering what gets you excited about doing it?
Well, I'm not really sexually attracted to it.
I was just asking.
He's just like
Brian's statement that he found no attraction to the concept of.
Yeah, he was just.
It's like fucking diarrhea of the mouth. It's just like.
Of murder is doubtful, given his excitement at the chance to relive the killing by telling the officers every little detail of the crime. Still, the detectives are determined to figure out the why behind Brian's gruesome actions.
So I'm curious about the cutting him up, taking parts of him home. Have you ever thought about, so it sounds like you've had like Ted Bundy, sex type stuff. Ed Kemper just kill people because you want to kill somebody, plus the sex stuff. How about Jeffrey Dahmer?
It wasn't really inspired by it. It was just more.
I'm trying to think about like
these people can do it. Sometimes,
man.
Brian's claim that he's not inspired by serial killers is somewhat undermined by that last remark.
When he was building a rapport, it was very robotic. He wasn't engaging at all in any other way. This dude blows.
Yeah, he hasn't been good, and the chick isn't good either.
The following part of the video is redacted, but we know from the transcript that Brian tells the detectives that his nickname in high school was Jeffrey Dahmer. He says he had a reputation that he would become a serial killer.
When we would do different group activities, sometimes we would have like different personas or whatever. And he'd be like, I'll be Jeffrey. I'm like, no, you're not. I do remember that specifically. He was very obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer. And is it Dylan Klebold, the Columbine shooter, was obsessed with him.
All right, dude, I'll be right back. I'm going to run upstairs for 2 seconds.
I remember actually talking to my mom and saying, take this name to your prayer group. I mean, and I remember talking to another teacher and saying, if any kid's going to shoot at Fruit of Monument, it's this kid.
In an interview, Brian's high school friend Patrick Rahor recalls a Halloween party they both attended.
Do you remember a costume that he wore?
Yeah, he wore a Jeffrey Dahmer costume.
Okay. And I heard he was Mike Myers one year. Was that he was actually Jeffrey Dahmer? Does that?
I might have been mixing up the years because we had a couple of Christmas parties, Halloween parties. But yeah, I think he like dressed up as a serial killer a couple of times.
When he was, I guess, Jeffrey Dahmer, how did that look? I guess how did his costume look?
I mean, it was like jeans, a plaid shirt, and like big glasses, which honestly was like not too entirely different from what he normally wore.
His obsession with crime, serial killers, and all things morbid was something that his parents had noticed too.
A lot of perseveration on crime and crime scenes. And so he was talking about going into the military in the fall, and when he gets out, having your job. And so I had purchased online a crime scene investigation book for him. You know, it's like ones that you probably read it when you first started out in college. And so I gave that to him, and I was like, so here, Brian, you know, let's channel that curiosity into something positive that you can affect a good change in the world. And he's like, yeah, that's my plan, Mom. I'm not going to say always had a fascination. You know, I'm going to say in the last few years. And is it like shows that he watches, or like tries to do things just to create a scene, you know what I mean? Like whether it's like animal stuff or nothing. No, like he loves our dogs. You know, I mean, he's very affectionate with our animals, and you know, he would watch. You know, like just last week he watched Silence of the Lambs, but I was like, well, he's 19. What you know? We probably all watched it. I watched it. It doesn't make me a serial killer, you know. Right. And he watched The Zodiac Killer over the summer a couple of times.
Brian's affinity for Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't the only warning sign observed by his teachers.
Like the first week of school, we had a meeting with all of his teachers and his case manager, expressing the concerns that they had with him and also explaining some of his behavioral issues.
Did anybody express that they had concerns he could be a serious safety issue or anything like that?
Yes, I believe so. We were to keep a very close eye on him, and it's certainly very apparent early on that he was a very troubled person.
In the 2019 school year, one of Brian's teachers found a notebook filled with a number of disturbing elements.
So I remember I don't even remember who found, there was like a notebook. I don't know if it's part of a notebook check, or my student teacher, another student, or somehow it got brought. And we had a meeting with Officer Bomar and the administration out at Fruita, just because it had some obviously concerning stuff talking about like serial killer statistics and stuff. Like he seemed to be kind of enamored with that. So that was kind of and they asked us, did we think he was like a threat to us or other students? And me and my student teacher didn't feel like he was going to do any harm to anyone on the school.
So famous serial killers, some information about
kill counts and just stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, that's not entirely normal.
The disturbing contents of the book discussed by Brian's teacher far exceed his initial portrayal. Within its pages lie numerous troubling entries detailing Brian's fixation on serial killers and other disturbing topics. Among these, Brian has devised his own cryptic code or alphabet. Furthermore, Brian's brief profiles of his favorite killers paint a grim picture of his unhealthy obsession with destruction and depravity. Additionally, he outlined plans for taking lives and holding strong opinions about his own purpose and actions. The book was also filled with quotes about his beliefs in neutral evil. One such quote read, "A neutral evil villain does whatever she can to get away with. She's out for herself, pure and simple. She sheds no tears for those she kills, whether for profit, sports, or convenience." This is far from the only warning sign that emerged during his time at school. In December of 2018, Brian was arrested on assault charges when he hit another student with a homemade mace.
When I had kids give speeches, I always told them to do an attention getter. And so it was the day of his speech, and he wanted to go first. And he pulled out this Indiana Jones-like whip that he fashioned out of masking tape. So to start the speech, he kept hitting the podium. Of course, everyone looked, and then he gave his speech. Then later that day, he ended up beating or whipping one of our side-by-side developmentally disabled students at the bus stop.
In early 2019, he was suspended after intentionally causing a student with PTSD to suffer a panic attack. In a subsequent meeting, school administrators conclude that Brian has a high potential for violence and presents a high risk for the school. However, despite being apprehended for his behavior,
definitely some antisocial behavior there.
What'd I miss?
So he got arrested before this for hitting another student with a homemade mace. And
I saw that when I walked in, the tape thing.
And then he intentionally caused another student to have a panic attack, and that's some antisocial shit right there. And then also from some of the other stuff they're saying, going forward, he was doing some other shit. Now this is some genuine escalation of antisocial behavior. So, This is like, yeah, this is escalated. And I say antisocial behavior because some people say criminal behavior, but not all antisocial behavior is criminal. So this is definitely like escalating into like criminal territory, which clearly he got arrested and stuff, and then so then he's in escalating criminal clearly because the crime went from assault to murder.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And then causing.
Before that, I wouldn't have thought he would have just assaulted anybody.
Right. So now I was saying all those antisocial, things, I didn't see them. Now I'm seeing them. So
interesting.
Behavior and his several run-ins with the management at school, Brian's mother, Terry Cohee, has a strikingly different opinion about the incidents.
When you talked about the school stuff and having lots of issues, what were the issues that they were having that made other kiddos not feel safe? He would make jokes that were not appropriate. He got suspended a few times, like for behavior that wasn't acceptable. Like this one girl that he knows very well, he knows that she has a lot of issues and that loud noises frighten her. And so, one of his school suspensions was when he came up to her in the hallway and clapped really loud next to her, knowing that it would put her in a panic. And she cried, and we were like, yep, no, you knew that would upset her, and you did it anyway. And he got suspended for weapons, but there was another boy who brought in nunchucks to school on the school bus. And Brian was like, wow, cool. And I think this was in 11th grade. And so Brian was like, I think Brian had given out some candy to some kids on the bus. And so Brian was like, can I check those out? He's like, I'll bring you in so I could give you some candy. So Brian gave the kid candy, and the next day the kid comes on the bus with two sets of nunchucks. One are glass, and the other one, I guess they're like rubber. I don't know. I never actually saw them. He's like, I know I can't take the glass ones because I'd be in trouble for that. So he took the rubber ones and he put them in his backpack. I don't know if it was in his backpack or in his jacket. There was some differentiating stories. So the teacher saw them and they said, what's that, Brian? And he was like, nothing, And so Papa Omar, he was like, we have a prohibited weapon on school grounds. And I'm like, okay, well, what about the other kid that brought them in? And they said, that kid doesn't have the behavior issues that Brian has. And I'm like, oh, so you're punishing Brian because he has behavior issues. I see. So Brian went through probation.
Passive and denial, how she dealt with that. Yeah. Even now, how she explaining it is like...
It's like it's coming back on them as parents, right? In that moment, it's like, oh, so if he's failing, we're failing.
She's just like, why are you attacking my son?
Remember when he was defensive in the phone call in the truck, right? Like,
right. Learned behavior.
Yeah.
In fact, his father, Brian Cohee Sr., believed that his son was incapable of such violence.
He's got friends he hangs around with, respectable friends, not friends that would ever, not those kind of friends.
Sure.
Clean, good friends.
Okay.
The worst they have is they play video
games.
Good
friends.
They drink too much Pepsi. We are thinking we're doing good. Our kids are both doing good. They're okay at school. They don't drink or smoke. So I didn't really have no warnings that this was going to happen. No. He may say a cuss word once in a while. Okay. But no, he's never hit anybody ever.
Okay.
He got in trouble for throwing a tape ball at school 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And they wrote him up for it because it hit somebody. But the football players can nail like jazz with a football. But Brian, he got in trouble for that.
Wow.
He's never hit anybody. Just like his dad.
Did his dad forget about him getting fucking arrested?
Yeah, like, is he already
for assault?
Listen, that was a misconception. It was a tape ball.
Hey, you guys got it all wrong.
These jocks can throw their footballs around. He can't throw a tape ball. What the fuck?
It's gonna be a spin-off of me.
Both the parents
he's
are
non-violent, but
after they know. After
he's not. I don't know what's going on now.
But Brian often resorted to social media as an out.
Now, none of this is me. None of that other stuff. No, that was fun. This ain't me. That ain't me.
I'll be nice and just chalk it up to him, being naive, I guess. Like, what?
Outlet to share his ideas. His dark thoughts were further reinforced by his posts on various social media accounts, pictures, and comments about his beliefs and mental health. His comments on Reddit were often on posts depicting mutilations and injuries. In an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, Brian wrote, "I'm a 17-year-old nobody who is failing his classes." When someone posted asking about him, Brian answered, "I have a counselor, but he assigned me to someone else because I was beyond his skill set. I'm also going to get a neuropsychological evaluation because of my irresponsibility. I can't really use any of my friends for support because they'd make fun of me."
Then we did have that meeting with SRO, and Jeremy and I went in there and we briefed him on it. And I reiterated to him, I was like, "This kid is really going to need some help in counseling right now." He's like, "All the flags are up."
In fact, even the Samaritan who helped him at the boat ramp on the evening he was dumping Warren's body, Kellen Pfeiffer, was at school with him and had a few things to say about Brian's behavior.
I remember my friends kind of complained, and one of my friends, Isaac, just did not like being in the same bus as him. He found him very obnoxious. And he complained about him a few times to me. I never really took too much notice at the time. And he was like, "Dude, this kid won't shut up on the bus. And he says the most inappropriate stuff." And I'm just like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I just hate the kid." And I never really, like I said, took much of a note, because it was kind of like at that point, like, "Oh yeah, people are like that. You know, some people are just annoying."
So, given what you've been thinking about and all the other things people have ever thought you wanted to be a serial killer?
Only if it brought me fame. For a while, I was willing to do anything, good or bad. That was years ago in school. I was willing to do anything, whether it be good or bad, just to gain notoriety, fame, influence.
Brian's comments about fame hinted a possible motive, but we still don't know the ultimate reason behind his horrific actions. In the hopes of drawing that reason out of him, detectives now take him one more time through the story of the gruesome killing. And this time, we get details that are even more monstrous than what we've learned thus far.
Did he see you?
No, he was not woken up until I pulled the sheets back.
I know this is going to be real fast. You pulled the sheets back.
And
before you stabbed him, did he see you?
No. And I pulled the sheets back, I get on him, like a knee, and then stab him, and he wakes up. He's, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Get off me!"
And I think you stabbed him anywhere besides that. I know you said the neck a lot of times. How many times do you think? Did you count him?
No. I was going until he stopped.
Okay, how many? Just your best idea how many times?
30 or 40.
Okay. You said the neck. Besides cutting his arms off.
Well, actually, it was a general assault. I was mainly targeting his neck because that's the most vulnerable area. I was stabbing his head, anywhere in that general area. I stabbed his head multiple times.
How about his chest, his stomach?
His chest, I stabbed once through the ribs.
Which hand were you using?
Right hand. It was.
Imagine
right
walking
ribs,
into that
just like-
room and then I stabbed him in the ribs. That lady was like, "Oh, see you later."
Wrong room. Excuse me.
I sliced up his belly, carved up his leg. Not like I made several slices at his leg.
Why did you do that?
I was just doing everything I thought of at the moment. Then I cut off his head. I gave him a Glasgow smile.
What's that?
A Joker smile.
Why were you doing that?
I suppose it was a frenzy. I was so excited, so rushed up on adrenaline and every day.
What a dork.
And
maybe those
I
bullshit
paused
things.
and he said, "Why are you doing
I
this?"
suppose it was
And I
a
said,
frenzy, good sir.
That's the way he said that one. I was
What a nerd.
I've been wanting to do this for a long
You're a murder
time.
nerd.
Brian has used very little vulgar language up to this point in the conversation. Between that and the exactness of his quote, it's easy to believe that this is an accurate recollection.
So let's talk about before you were sure he was
If
dead.
he's histrionic, which is like an attention-seeking type personality disorder, maybe that could possibly be a part of his cocktail. It would explain his behavior a little bit, and then it would put him in the personality disorder realm, and then coupled with some antisocial behavior,
Yeah, dude. No, that
potential psychopath when you get into that area. But
loves the attention. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he does. He admitted it. So that makes me wonder, because he's obnoxious. He likes the attention. And I'm starting to like histrionic personality disorder kind of creeps up a little bit. So I wonder if it maybe it's not all autism, and potentially there could be something there. But I mean, he hasn't been diagnosed with it. I damn fucking sure am not able to diagnose anyone with a fucking thing. So, but yeah. So I don't know, man. This is super interesting. It's very complex, and the what ifs are, and like that's what's interesting about shit like this is like trying to figure out the recipe, and because killers are different. So
yeah, dude, I've really enjoyed the way you've like analyzed this. Honestly, it's been
thank you. I'm having like a ton of fun. The chat's making me laugh.
This has been sweet. Oh, dude, best chat ever.
Well, did you stab him before he was dead?
Nowhere about the head.
Somehow can make some morbid ass shit enjoyable, from the chat, just being fucking funny as hell.
I'm actually having a great night. Thank you.
And having a great conversation while it's happening. Like
this is fun. I think everybody here, myself included, we're all sharing and learning and having a good time doing it. So this is cool.
Yeah, dude, this rules.
When did you stab him in the chest?
After he perished.
Okay, and how did you know he perished?
He let out a final gasp.
Okay.
And he wasn't fighting later on. He was losing too much energy, blood loss. And he just finally gasped, and I needed to make sure peace of mind, so I decapitated him, partially as for the hell of it.
So let's try to go step by step. You said you stabbed him in the neck and the head while he's alive.
Yes, I paused. We had a conversation where he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I felt like doing this for a long time." I continued. He died, deceased, whatever you want to call it. And then I stabbed his ribs, opened up his belly, sliced his leg multiple times.
Okay.
Derobed him, and then decapitated him, removed his hands, his joints.
Did you derobe him before or after you opened his belly?
After I opened his belly.
So you cut through his clothes to open?
No, I lifted up his shirt and just...
Okay. Which way did you go? Like a deer this way or like this way?
No, this way, across his belly.
Okay.
If what Brian has admitted to so far has not put a sick feeling in your stomach, the gory details to come will surely do so.
You didn't see his heart or anything?
No, he was very thin. I thought about taking out...
What else do you think you saw?
What do I think? What do I...
Internally, what did you see?
I saw his liver, his large and small intestine.
This fucking cop keeps interrupting this dude. Let him fucking talk. Let him talk. God damn it. Like, that's like what you're there for, to listen. Quit fucking talking. Quit asking him rapid fire questions and let him talk. Fuck.
Some of it was yellow. I was thinking about taking out his heart. I was thinking about crushing the ribs and disemboweling him entirely.
Okay. Did you disembowel him at all, or just cut him open?
I cut him open, but his organs spilled out by themselves when I was dumping him.
Anything else? Did you take anything besides his head, like anything internally?
No.
And how did you know it was his liver? I mean, you ever go hunting, or how do you know it's somebody's liver when you open them up?
It's dark, purple, brownish. Okay. It's large up here. I just knew it was a liver. I've taken anatomy and physiology, so I knew it was his liver.
That makes sense. I was just curious if you've ever seen one before, you're just guessing, or how you know?
I've seen some.
These nauseating details are quickly followed by another shocking piece of information about the night in question.
Did you take any pictures that night?
Yes, but I deleted them. Okay. Entirely.
Where did you take pictures?
After I killed him, I took a picture of him, his hands, but I deleted all those because those are evidence. Okay. I don't know if you can find them. But
when you say you deleted them entirely, that's an interesting statement. What do you mean by that?
I removed them from my phone, deleted the pictures.
Okay.
With some assistance from the U.S. Secret Service, investigators are able to extract the deleted photos from Brian's phone. Nonetheless, Brian's care in deleting the pictures once again show that he was highly interested in covering his tracks, showing us everything we need to know about his state of mind in the wake of this awful murder.
Definitely.
Did you tell anybody about what you did before today?
No, I haven't told anyone that I committed murder.
Yet that very morning, Brian texted his friend Kylan Like, asking if he can come over to talk. Once at the house, Brian concocted a story that Kylan's husband, James Bailey, thought was ridiculous.
What I remember, he came over, he was acting super weird, and he was like, "I got to tell you guys something. I think the police are trying to frame me for a murder. I found a body, I was like messing with it, and I got my car stuck in the river, and I had wiped blood that I had on my hand onto the car, and the tow truck guy saw it, and like, I think they're going to try to frame me." I thought that he was I thought that, like I said, at most he had found one and was just trying to be edgy because he found one or something like that, or even to the point where he could have just been making it all up just because, again, I didn't know him personally.
I was planning to maybe keep a finger.
You haven't got that far yet.
No.
Why finger?
That's small. Not that much space. It won't smell that much.
Makes sense.
Easy to keep.
Brian has provided the detectives with everything they could possibly want to know about the murder. He's detailed the killing not once, but twice, and he's even revealed stomach-churning details about the disposal of the body. The one question that remains, however, is an enormous one. Why? And Brian's reason why is perhaps the most twisted aspect of all.
You know, Brian, I have to ask, a lot of people that we have talked with,
They're silent.
Well, or they're just not as well spoken as you are, to be honest with you. You're very articulate. You're very articulate.
I think I'm bad with words.
No, I actually think you're really articulate. And you talked about you were just kind of in a bad space that night.
It was, yes.
Okay. Why were you in a bad space?
I didn't take my medicine, and plus for years I was wondering what murder would feel like, because read Ted Bundy and the Zodiac, they all say murder is the best feeling in the world. So I'm like, try that. So for some time I had been wondering when it would happen. I always knew I would be in this building, whether it was as a criminal or a police officer.
As shocking as it is that Brian's motivation comes down to a simple matter of sick curiosity, his last remark is almost more unbelievable. As mundane and evil as Brian's motive may seem, it's not one he made any attempt to hide. Even as he first talked to police in front of his house, the young killer was fully upfront about his curiosity.
Like, for real human head and hands?
Yes.
From?
That fella who went
I've got that same hoodie, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's the same white one.
missing recently.
Which fellow was that?
Warren Brown.
Warren Brown? When did he go missing?
The night of the 27th.
Okay, and how did you end up with him?
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
Did you see that reaction?
I murdered.
He go missing.
The night of the 20th.
Because the dad's like, oh, he's trying to even look at him.
Okay, and how did you end up with him?
I murdered him.
With what?
A knife.
Why would you have done that?
I've always wondered what murder felt like.
Brian's teachers were all asked an identical question.
When Brian was arrested, were you surprised to hear that?
No, I was not at all.
I remember when I saw the story on the news, and you're like, that name sounds so familiar. And then you're like, I guess I wasn't surprised, if that makes sense.
I mean, I've been doing this for 23 years, and I know you can't really go off gut feelings, but I just always felt uneasy around Brian. Like there was, and just like he needed much more help than we could offer him in a public school setting. And so when I saw that, I hated to see. I wasn't necessarily surprised that his path could have led to that point.
Were you surprised to hear about what happened on the news?
No, I wasn't. I was more let down by the system because, like, we had called it out that he needed help, like, with all those kind of flags were going off, and it still happened.
Hold on. Let me ask the chat something real quick. Do y'all think that it was the system or the parents who dropped the ball in this?
Yeah, dude. That's
what I think. I want to see what you think.
Let me see if I can put a
In the interrogation, the detectives try to find out if Brian's curiosity was satisfied by the murder.
So, to see what it felt like, what did it feel like?
It was intense. It was a rush of adrenaline. My whole body was shaking. Not like out of fear. It was like... It wasn't fear. It was just pure, what's the word? Excitement, I suppose. Not excitement as in joy, just excitement as in increased heartbeat, sweating, that type of thing.
Adrenaline jump.
Yeah. Although I wasn't breaking a sweat killing the guy. It was quite easy.
Well, did you enjoy it or not enjoy it?
Did I enjoy it? I don't know. Just sort of neutral of the whole thing. I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. If I go back that night, probably wouldn't have done it, knowing what it felt like, knowing how this will all turn out. I wouldn't have done it.
What did you think it was going to feel like?
I thought it would be the best feeling in the world.
You said you didn't feel much of anything.
Excitement.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But other than that, no.
Well, let us step out and figure out where we're going next, okay?
Okay.
The interrogation is over, and Brian seems highly satisfied with how he's cooperated with the detectives. He's enjoyed every minute of this conversation, and it seems that he at least partially achieved what he set out to do. He seems to see himself in the same league as infamous killers such as Ted Bundy. Brian may be done talking on camera, but he still has one last comment to make. According to Detective Berg's official report, when he walked Brian to the booking department, Brian smiled and said,
failed him, the system failed the victim. Absolutely.
I feel like Hannibal Lecter right now. Brian Cohee Jr. pled not guilty by reason of insanity in January 2022. This plea triggered a psychological evaluation. Noting the matter-of-fact way he presented the details of the murder, the doctors asked him how he felt about the killing in retrospect. Brian said, quote, "Yeah, it's just kind of a thing that happened. It sucks, but it happened." When asked what about it sucks, Brian mentioned that he was now locked up, couldn't see his friends, and emphasized that he really missed video games and the internet. He did not, however, express any remorse for the victim.
So I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know how we got to get some kind of advice or find out what to do. Or if she has her own business here, and I have my own business, and I carry the same man's name as my son.
Right.
And now it's going to be all over the paper. Brian Cohee killed somebody. Right now we can't do anything.
Well, and you know,
we can't go anywhere. I'm not working anymore. She can't have any more kids anymore. Everything's over. It's all done.
He's having a meltdown.
Our lives are totally
He's
over.
freaking out.
A jury ultimately rejected the insanity defense and found Brian Cohee.
It's like, sir, calm down. I understand, sir. The mom's like, what did he say?
Cohee Jr. guilty
like,
on one.
You're laying a lot on us right now.
Also, I get it, but wow, that was
on the head here, home.
Count of evidence tampering, 2 counts of tampering with a deceased human body, and 1 count of murder in the first degree.
Because, I mean, Murray going to jail for 15 years probably.
Contrary to Brian's estimations, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's currently serving out his sentence at Buena Vista Correctional Complex in Colorado Springs. Monique Lanati reflected on how she would want her friend to be remembered.
If I had to say one word about Warren, he was amazing.
A permanent metal art memorial was installed next to Monique's bridal downtown, carefully crafted to reflect Warren Barnes' favorite pastime, reading books.
That was a cool ending. Holy fuck, dude. Yeah, that was insane.
That was very insane.
That's one of the oddest ones I've watched. Like,
yeah, super. It's really like that. I'm gonna be honest. When we finished it up, sitting here now, snap judgments, bam. Yeah, I don't know, man. That kid's got so much shit going on with him and in his background and everything, and it's just like really fucking hard to like. I don't know, like it maybe is kind of evil.
Yeah, it's really kind of hard. It's
gnarly.
Hard to tell, man. Like
it is. It's very hard. There's so many components in figuring out what plays what role and how much of this is in him and how much of that, and you know, and it's telling again when he's in prison, he just has no remorse for the victim. Just like
that's telling on so many of these guys, right? Like, because sometimes you have murderers that will end up having remorse, or you know, if they're doing that for bullshit parole reasons, or sometimes they find God or whatever. But
this guy is genuine. So with the psychopaths, that's what they say. They're incapable of remorse. They're incapable of remorse. You know, that's not the case. That's not necessarily true. But this dude, he's got that. What people think is the remorse and capability, he has it.
Yeah, dude. Fucking crazy. I don't think I'm done looking up on this guy. I'm going to see what else I can find. I wish that trial was watchable. All I can find is clips on YouTube. Like 1-minute clips, like nothing. Basically from the news. So maybe Court TV will get it, if it was even got. Who knows? But right here, Mandy's been on top of it all night. Make sure you're following Chris on X, dude. Hit the link there in the chat. And yeah,
I'm pretty boring, but
dude, I appreciate you coming on here, dude. This has been fucking awesome.
Thanks.
Man. I loved all
having
that.
a good time.
Like that was fucking sweet, bro.
Yeah,
everybody hanging out tonight. appreciate the fuck out of that. Hit that like ski as you're heading out. Before we do go though, I want to do some shout outs here. I definitely said potato. I didn't say potato. Okay. Remember for 7 months, MJ.
Was it Patio?
Maybe I probably did fuck it up, but I didn't say potato. Clip it.
How
Phil.
dare you accuse this beautiful man?
Clip it, Phil.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
And then she res, I think I called this one out. Thank you so much for coming here, becoming a Buzzed and Confused member. And then she gifted out 5 of them sons of bitches. That's what I'm talking about.
Son of a bitch!
Very cool.
Let's go. And then I gave 5 of them out. And then everyone new in here, get the hell in here. That's what I'm talking about.
Respect my house.
And then Shelly, boom, 8 months. Where's the time gone? That's almost a baby.
Happy anniversary.
Boom, and then she gifted one out. And whoever got that son of a bitch, welcome in here.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Let's go. And then Holly Berry coming through with 5 at the end. 5 more people are membered up, baby. And we're going to have some special stuff coming soon. And 4/19, one day before a sacred holiday, I've got something cool coming for you guys. No spoilers yet. So keep your eyes on everything. Hopefully Thursday, Dan will be back. Dan should be hanging and banging with me Thursday. We'll see what's going on Friday. We finished Twin Peaks, Chris.
Oh my God.
We finished, season 1 of Twin Peaks.
That doesn't count.
Yeah,
that was a very misleading statement.
Yeah, so season 1, and I do want to do the movie, so we'll see what we're doing this Friday, but I'm not sure. But last Friday I got through the end of season 1, which was a lot.
I can't listen. I can't do Twin Peaks. I can't
too much.
Do it.
Are you a David Lynch fan though?
It's weird.
It is weird. Dan hated it. It.
Yeah, I don't
and
like
then
it.
Dan
either.
came aboard, dude. Dan all of a sudden messaged me. He messaged me one day and he's like, dude, I started watching Twin Peaks and I'm like, oh shit. Oh fuck. I'm like, dude, I've got books. I've got so many things for you to learn and watch.
One of my friends made me watch the movie one time, talking it up like it's the greatest thing ever. And when we got done, I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
It is, but dude, I will say this, you need so much more. Like, it's all out of whack. Like, it's not together. The movie, you definitely need more.
That's what people keep saying, but
Like,
it's just
but
not,
Dude,
it doesn't grab me, you know?
The first time I seen the movie, it was at a really fucked up party, like in a trailer in the woods, and there was a lot of fucked up shit going on. But even though all this really crazy shit was going on, you know, this movie captured me, and I didn't get it, and I didn't even like it then, but I couldn't get away from it. I was enamored by this movie. I wasn't even in Twin Peaks at the time. This is like right when I was in college, right out of high school, like 06. Dude, I really got into David Lynch and Twin Peaks in like the mid-teens. Like, and then I remembered this movie. Dude, I still remember that fucking party, and I remember that night, and I remember that into the morning, dude. That thing was playing at what felt like for hours. Maybe it was on loop. I don't know. But I still remember, I feel like, this is going to sound insane. I feel like that was meant to
had
be.
a spiritual experience.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
God damn, I knew you were going there with it. I was hoping you would.
I feel crazy saying it. I didn't even want to say those words, but that's what I'm getting at. I had a spiritual awakening at that weird trailer party in the woods. And yeah, I just didn't know what laid ahead. And once I did, but I mean, so here's a question. Have you ever seen the movie Elephant Man? The Elephant Man. About the elephant. No. Oh man. Well, first of all, look up the Elephant Man. The guy.
Is that the guy with like giant balls?
He had elephantitis, but no. I know what you're talking about, but no, he had like just like
Isn't
a giant head,
giant balls?
a giant arm, but half of his body was sort of normal.
Is it a real guy?
Yeah. It was from like the late 1800s into the 1900s. Dude, his head was so crazy big that he had to sleep sitting up or he would suffocate, and that's actually, spoiler alert, how he killed himself. So. Because he ended himself. But David Lynch made a movie about the Elephant Man that is so fucking good. We watched it in my high school. Like, it was in our English class.
Who plays the Elephant Man? Is it Jack Nicholson?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is it somebody prestigious?
And this guy's name was Merrick, like the real Elephant Man. Hold on. Elephant Man.
I've never heard of this guy.
Bro. Yeah, this is 1980. This is like the only like David Lynch movie that's like really Hollywood, like it actually has a normal ending and stuff, but this is the real dude. This is the real dude. Okay.
That's an
Joseph
unfortunate
Merrick. So, but this movie, dude, watch this fucking movie, bro. It's so good, man.
I will not. I will not. I will
Dude, you
not.
better watch this movie. Look
I
at this.
won't.
This is the actor.
I
That's
won't.
the actor. I'm pointing at the screen like it's that's the actor.
Like I'm not going to be able to tell them apart. Which one's the real one?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter.
Who played the Elephant Man?
I'm never going to watch it.
John
I'm never
Hurt.
going to watch.
John
Listen,
Hurt played the Elephant Man.
Steve.
I'm putting it over, baby.
Listen.
It's
when
the
you
most
tell
normal.
me when you tell me that Twin Peaks is just like on this crazy other level of and see, even right now when I'm saying it back to you, you're like, yeah, yes,
it is. It is.
I can't take your Elephant Man recommendation seriously.
Well, I was
Sorry.
saying that one really just because it's the most normal and the exact opposite of Twin Peaks. Like, there's nothing trippy in it. Where everything else he does is pretty fucking
Except
trippy.
this horribly deformed man
But it's a true story.
who's
Like,
trying
he
to
sticks to
live
the real true
and not
story.
suffocate.
Dude, the real
with
story's so
elephant's
fucked.
skin.
Like, he was a freak show. He's part of a circus. He was sold
You
in
don't
his
say.
life.
I thought he would be a nighttime security guard.
Dude, it's really good. It's the poor guy.
You know what? I'll
stop
give
putting
it
over, but
listen. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna give it 5 minutes. If that movie doesn't have me going in 5 minutes, it's
Well,
going off.
you
And
gotta give it a
movie
chance
movie recommendations between you and I terminated
you gotta give it a chance now.
permanently.
All right. Do you
5
like the
minutes.
Toxic Avenger?
I did when I was a little kid. I haven't seen it in a long time. Like the
Okay.
trauma one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a super long time, but I loved it when I was little.
Okay, that's probably my favorite movie. The Toxic Avenger, Class of Nukem High. Troma's my favorite company. And
See,
it's
trauma shit is weird to me. I
Troma's
don't
fucking
like a
super
lot
weird.
of it.
Yeah, there's different periods that are definitely completely different because of budgets and stuff, but Toxic's classic.
Shelly,
Huh?
you need to watch Mask. He was a ginger.
I have seen Mask. No, I've seen that movie. I know the real story about the guy with the fucked up face, and the movie Mask with Cher in it. Cher played his mom in that movie. I'm very up on deformed, fucked up face movies. Okay.
How do you have so much obscure movie knowledge? It's impressive.
I've also seen Cannibal the Musical. That'd be great to watch. Cannibal. Dude, I don't know. I've spent a long periods of my life, like, I've got terabytes of these, like, movies no one's ever heard about. Like,
I believe this.
Terabytes, bro. Like,
it's really like I'm just like it's pretty impressive.
dude, I love some old movies and just like, but really good ones too, dude. Like Hitchcock stuff is the best. Like,
I can't do Hitchcock.
Man, I can get deep on some slow ass Hitchcock. Like,
when I was younger in one of my classes, they made us watch. I don't know why so I got expelled from school and I had to go to this like behavioral alternative school, and the classes weren't even really classes. You just had to sit in there and behave. It was called math, but you didn't like really do any math or anything. And then you go to and the classes were separated by like cubicle partitions and stuff. But in one of these classes, and I forget which one, and I have no idea why the teacher made us do this, but he made us watch the old Psycho, which is Hitchcock, right? Psycho.
Yeah.
And then he made us
rules.
right, and then he made us watch the newer one that came out in like 97 or something like that.
I don't really like.
And he was pointing out the scenes that they made like exactly the same and stuff.
Oh
and
wow,
like,
he made it weird.
I was like,
he ruined it
yeah.
for you.
I was like, this is fucking weird.
Dude, my favorite Hitchcock movie is from like 1940.
The Birds.
The Birds is amazing. Like,
I've never seen like any other.
I can't
than
remember
Psycho,
the name of the
seen
movie.
any.
Hold on, I've got to go to his IMDb because this movie, some of them, I mean, they trip me the fuck out. Like, I can go deep on some movies, man.
I would give Hitchcock a try more so than Elephant Man.
Elephant Man is a classic. It actually won like awards, which is strange for David Lynch. What was the name of this movie? It's fucking with me now. I think it's Rope. Hold on, Rope.
Never
Two
heard of
men
it.
attempt to prove they committed the perfect. No, that's not it. It's not it. All right, I'm gonna
You're
stop.
back. You're back with us with
rules.
Hitchcock Research Live.
Dude, right now, baby. Dude, everyone hanging out here tonight. Everyone that hung deep. I appreciate the fuck out of it. You guys rule. Yeah, for real. Hit the like as you're heading out. We will see you here Thursday doing something. We'll figure out what the hell's going on. The birds rules, Pam. Yeah, Pam knows. Pam knows. One night, Holly, we are going to watch Cannibal the Musical, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be on Kick. I've thought about watching those episodes of that Nickelodeon documentary on Kick. Everybody's talking about.
It's good.
You watched it?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. I've never dove in, just the random clips I've seen online. I've thought about doing that on Kick. Just straight doing it and saying fuck it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching.
This has been a long night, Holly. We've been going. Like, this has been super fucking fun, man. This has been awesome. All right. I'm really going to close it off. Can't get me talking David Lynch. I'll go crazy.
We'll be here all night.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Heading out. Hit the like. Share it out. Love you.
I think